Bigfoot Club, episode 10. I am your host, Robert Jesse Dominguez, and with me always is...
Well, not always.
But we make do.
But I am back. Christopher Lee Collups.
Also with us,
Zash.
Ash.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to make it a point never to leave again. Because big shout out to Big Steven Dominguez.
Yeah, Big Boy Jones.
He brought the thunder.
He brought the hammer, man.
He brought Thor's hammer. So, Steven, thanks for filling in. It was nice to have somebody fill in that was super awesome. So, and thanks for showing me up. I appreciate it. And dropping the bomb with the big fun fact. Because I've been dropping the bomb, not bringing a fun fact in the past few shows. So
that was a good one. He brought
a good one.
It
was amazing.
It wasn't really even planned because he was just kind of.
I know he just
looking over stuff beforehand. He was like,
"Yeah,
what was the name of that bridge?"
Yeah, he was. He hit it from us pretty good.
Yeah.
He didn't tell me about it, and when he told me, I go, "What?
Yeah,
what?"
Trust me, when I was listening back, I was like, "Yeah, this dude just took my job." And y'all were pretty adamant about, oh no.
Dirk.
He took your job. He took your job. How many times did you say that in that episode?
Huh?
You lost your job. How many times did you say that? But I am right now. So, yeah, I'm not going to make it a habit of leaving. So.
I can bring you in warm. Or I can bring you in cold.
Hey, you didn't watch the 7th episode, did you?
No, I didn't. But you know, we can still talk about it.
Ash, did you watch it?
Like the latest one?
Yeah. The one that just came out.
It came out early.
It did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
I didn't see it either. So, but we can still talk about it.
Yeah, they brought it out last night.
Sweet.
Those bastards.
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. One of the coolest things with Baby Yoda you'll ever see.
It's the finale, isn't it?
No, I think they have one more.
Okay.
Impressive. Most impressive.
Sorry.
No, it might be the finale. It might have been.
I think there's 2 more.
It makes
I think
sense
they were gonna do
Christmas.
8, and this was 7.
Was it?
Okay.
Okay.
So
We can still talk about it. I'm okay with that.
It was-
How about you guys?
I don't know, man. How much are we going to talk about? I don't want to be disappointed in.
no, I don't want to. I already ruined it for you. So
Don't do that to me.
yeah, I don't want to
I'll
ruin it
fight
for
you.
Ash.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. Okay, then
So-
we
I take
won't
that
talk
shit
about
personal.
Let's not do that because it's awesome. Just let you know, Baby Yoda comes through again. So
it. Too sweet.
Always.
too sweet.
So,
He's
Okay.
been carrying the show, and I understand how that feels, man.
well, I'm. Then we can hold off and talk about it. So that's cool with me.
Hey, we're not going to talk about it.
That sounds good. Okay.
Stay with us.
So, what I kind of wanted to talk about was big. I know we talked about how Bigfoot smells, and
he stinks.
stank. But anyway,
But only on rare occasions, apparently.
Yeah.
Statistically.
When he gets worked up.
yeah, he gets
When he's either wanting it or he's wanting to scare you away.
he gets feisty.
Yeah. Feister.
But I kind of wanted to talk about what Bigfoots eat, and I know I was talking to you guys off show about this, but I didn't realize how many. I have like a ton of incidents where Bigfoot was eating something.
You know, when we brought this topic up, we were at work,
Right.
and you mentioned that to me, and I started thinking about all of the stories that you told me, and a lot of them, like you said, they had something to do with food,
Yeah.
with something. He's either digging in something
Yeah.
or, rummaging. Thank you. I couldn't think of another word. I was trying to think of another adjective for digging. Rummaging through something. He was looking. He was looking
Yeah.
for food, and I didn't realize when we were talking throughout those shows until we were like, hey, let's do what Bigfoot eats, and then you were like,
Yeah, because like because if you think about it, you know, Bigfoot. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's huge.
There's a reason why he's called Bigfoot.
And, you know, if something's that big and that massive, it's going to need a lot of calories.
A lot.
A lot of calories to eat to maintain itself and to move around quickly and stuff like that. So I know from my perspective, I had always thought about that. I said, what's he eating? I mean, it's a lot of stuff. I mean, they're opportunistic eaters and they eat whatever. I know I've talked about in the past about salt licks and I know our last episode I talked about concho. They were eating out of a grease trap. Mm-hmm. And I know what first got me down to Paris, Texas, the Campbell Soup Factory in Lamar County. Mm-hmm. And what got me down there right away was the security guard that had saw a video of a Bigfoot rummaging through the dumpsters in the back of the Campbell Soup Factory. So they're opportunistic. So, man, I got, I think half of my stuff that I know I've interviewed people is just like food wise. So,
and I mean, it makes sense because when you say he's an opportunistic eater, well, he's an omnivore, and he eats anything.
Right.
But what's in the woods? I mean, obviously, in some areas there's not as much big game like deer and possibly goats or whatever, or cows,
hogs.
So they have to eat berries and fruits and whatever's around. But I'm thinking if I'm that big, I'm gonna need more than some fruits and berries. So if I'm strolling around,
he's not eating roots all the time.
Exactly. So if I'm strolling around and I'm that big, and oh man, look, there's a big old thing with a bunch of food in a can.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go dig in it. I'm gonna get down.
That's kind of common anyway with urban sprawl and anything with most animals.
Yeah,
coyotes in your trash can.
Yeah.
What have you heard about what Bigfoots eat or what potentially they could eat?
I mean, it's basically that it's like whatever you think a bear would, or a wild hog, which they basically eat anything they can find, And I mean, it makes sense.
You know, it's funny because like whenever I first got into Bigfoot stuff, Luke kind of brought me to this. He was telling me, and I was always asking him. I said, how do you know when this was like before the BFRO had a really good website? Yeah. And I think we were leading on Bobby Short's website, Bigfoot Encounters. And before I got into that, he would tell me, he was always used to say, Bob, now you got to pay attention to, cattle, and you hear any stories about cattle being mutilated or killed, look there first. He used to say it all the time. Yeah. And so his theory was, and I kind of ran with it, was that Bigfoots were opportunistic and they would kill cattle and they would like take the eyeballs and the intestines. They would just punch a hole through the intestines, pull it out and eat it and go. That was really quick for them. I mean, I know they probably eat meat, but I don't know that for a fact. But I've heard lots of stories of
they eat the organs.
Yeah, cows and
it kind of makes sense. It's, if they're looking for a certain thing in their diet,
right
at the time, like like horses or whatever, they'll eat wood if they're I can't remember what it is, or different animals, they'll eat dirt if they need minerals.
Well, yeah, if you're lacking something in your diet, you're gonna find whatever it is that it substitutes for whatever you're lacking.
So if they need iron or protein,
I always thought it weird whenever I'd go with Britt to like doctor's appointments whenever she was pregnant, because they would always ask her if she's like craving these
dirt.
Dirt.
That happens like on those straight addiction shows and stuff. I think people that'll want to eat clay and stuff, and a lot of times
clay was one of them.
Deficiencies,
dirt, clay, cigarette ashes, oil. Like motor oil, stuff like that. It's like if you crave this stuff, they know that by whatever, like say you start craving dirt. Well, they're like, oh, well, I'm not a doctor, but they'll say, oh, well, you might be deficient in this, right? So we're going to give you this to counteract it. Well, I mean, if this is kind of a humanoid thing, or just an animal in general, whatever it is. It could possibly, just like Ash was saying, horses go through it, cows go through it, all animals go through it. So Yeah, he probably goes through it at some time. And I'm thinking, too, whenever you're talking about just punching through the gut of something and pulling something out fast, well, this thing doesn't want to be seen.
Right.
And he's thinking, okay, he's probably smart enough to know that wherever cattle are, there are humans. Yeah. There's people that are around most of the time. So he's thinking, okay, I'm going to wait till those people are gone or those other things that look like me but smaller are gone, and I'm going to punch this sucker and run.
I kind of think it's like a Bigfoot McDonald's.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad our McDonald's isn't that way? You just go through the drive-thru, like stick your hand in a cow, just take whatever you need and go.
That would be kind of awesome.
That's extremely fast food.
They say, what combo you need? I'll just help myself.
A 1-2 punch combo.
Yeah. 3-piece and a soda.
Oh. So if he's a Mexican Bigfoot, he'll say 3 plus. Boom.
So yeah, I'm thinking he wants to keep his identity secret. So he's not going to present himself. He's not going to take the time.
What's he, Clark Kent or something?
Yeah, he's Clark Kent, man.
He wears glasses.
No, he's Blark Flint because he's Bigfoot, not.
Sorry.
So he's Bark Flint. Sorry. So anyway, you're so dumb. So anyway, back to normal topic.
Yeah.
And it says that it eats berries, fruits, and all that. Well, he doesn't have to be quick to eat those things. And it also says that he preys on poultry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, poultry's small. Right. You know, if it's a turkey or a chicken, I mean, he could just go snatch it and go. Yeah. And there's not going to be any leftovers.
There was a family that I was doing some stuff in Lamar County. How I got in Lamar County was the Campbell Soup Factory, and eventually I walked down the road and I knocked on doors and I handed out flyers and I handed out cards, and eventually I got to this family, and they were right next to the lake, Pat Mays Lake. And they had geese, chickens, cows. I think they had goats too.
Is this the property that you got to go on?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so how I got to know her is that she put an incident report on the website that she kept missing chickens, and she was also growing like corn and squash, and I think cantaloupes. So they had that stuff missing too.
I love cantaloupes.
What? I just thought it's like, I just see Billy Madison in my head. I'm telling you what did it, that damn Sasquatch. That's all I see is like somebody mad that got into their garden. It's like that damn Sasquatch again got into my corn and ate one of my chickens.
And they had chickens that were being taken from their I guess
frequently
their farm. Yeah, frequently. And so that's how I got to know them and got to know her, and so that was kind of odd. And I remember going on their property and I did find some footprints, and I think eventually they did have a big pasture in the back and they had hay. And one of the incidents was and I'm going off food topic, but the Bigfoot would sit in, they said the Bigfoot had sat in this thing of hay, and the cows would eat all the hay except for that one bale of hay.
Well, it probably stank.
Yeah.
You got that butt stank.
It's got Bigfoot butt stank on it.
So
butt stanks. That's Bigfoot butt stank.
But that's how I got into that county. You know, the Campbell Soup Factory with the rummaging of the dumpster, and then eventually I got to her with the chickens being taken off property, and then I think she had like corn and cantaloupes being taken too. So
what a pain in the ass.
Well, again, going back to not being seen is, I mean, corns, cantaloupe, stuff like that. That's, he can run by, he can grab it,
right,
and get away.
Because I every time I go into an area, I mean, I've said this before in other shows. When I do an incident report, I'd always say, "What's in the area? Mm-hmm. You know, what type of farms are what's farming here? There's a fish hatchery. Is there a lake? Mm-hmm. There's game. If there's game, there's gonna be a Bigfoot."
Well, here's the thing. If and I'm gonna pull on Carly's brain here a little bit for teaching me from ag. When she goes out and she does like competitions for ag and FFA, part of the competition is they give her a map of an area.
Yeah.
And it shows like the vegetation, it shows like the water sources, it shows like the habitat and all that stuff. And it tells her we want to bring we want to bring dove in here. We want to bring deer in here. We want to bring will this area sustain the different types of species that we want to put in here? And if so, why? And if not, why not?
Right.
And she's telling me that if they're talking about bringing deer, bear, antelope, any kind of decent sized being, there has to be three things.
Right.
There has to be cover, which is concealment.
Right.
There has to be water.
Right.
And there has to be plenty of food.
Yep.
For whatever that is eating.
Yeah.
So when I started thinking about Bigfoot diet, my mind automatically went to Carly in this area. So every time you say, you haven't been in East Texas, you haven't been in East Texas.
How?
You haven't been in East Texas. Every time you say that.
That sounds like a goblin.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that later. So, but every time you say that, that's where I go to. Because in West Texas, there's no concealment.
Right.
There's not a lot of water. And there's not a lot for this Bigfoot to eat. So I get why all the sightings are in wooded areas.
Yeah.
Well, there's
The big thicket.
We're on the subject of food. Well, there's obviously going to be more food for this dude to eat in those areas. And the main thing is concealment.
Yeah.
He wants to stay hidden. So, shout out to Carly. Thanks.
Yeah, Carl. Did they ask her about what's the defect in the milk and stuff? Said,
That's a they don't ask her because she's not in that group. But there is a group that does that. That actually does it. And whenever they were talking about describing this group to the kids, they were like, it's just like Napoleon Dynamite.
the defect on this is bleach.
Yeah, that's what they said. It's just like it.
I mean, that's real. I mean, I never did that, but I had friends that did it,
Yeah. This would be a perfect cow, except for that extra nipple right there.
The defect on this is bleach.
It tastes like the cow got into an onion patch. So, yeah. But that's funny you say that because that's exactly how they describe that. Because there's different groups in FFA.
Right.
She's in the wildlife group, which is they're the ones that they do all they learn what species and plants and animals and all that stuff, and then they learn how to, which was really cool. She taught me how you age a deer by their jaw, and I was like, that's really cool. There's like when you pull it back, like in the back molars, they have like little cloves inside their teeth. And however many cloves you could tell, well, it's between this age and this age.
Right.
And I was like, man, that's so cool. So, but then then also one of the things is hey, what can we grow in this
area?
Yeah.
Because that's what I always say whenever I like do Bigfoot stuff. Because one is they got to have water and what's in the area. What can sustain them.
Yeah.
I mean, because Luke always brought this on to me. And man, that dude is like, he knows so much about stuff, and his point of view is like always great. Like he'd always tell me, Bob, locusts, a lot of locusts come through here, and that's a lot of protein, and Bigfoots can just like snag a bunch of locusts and just eat it. And so I mean, it's
because locusts, I mean, it's a lot of protein and a little snack.
Yeah,
And
so
just certain times of years too. I know I've seen, I think, on trees, and they can tell when they've had, what years they've come, because their growth line or rings are different because there's so much added nutrients into the soil. And then like migration patterns are sometimes around those sort of things because, it's a huge feast to bring out things like that, And
you talk about migration, and to me it doesn't seem like Bigfoot migrates much. They stay in their areas, and then obviously we're going back to the diet thing. In different areas, there's obviously different things to eat. Like up north, I mean, it snows. That's why bears hibernate. Bears go into hibernation they eat, then they go into hibernation until spring comes. I wonder if Bigfoot does the same thing.
Yeah,
Probably.
I would think so.
Yeah, because I mean, like in Alaska and
Yeah.
Washington and stuff, those places during the spring and summer months, it's basically a rainforest. You know, it's huge
And-
growth period, but it's really fast.
That's what I was going to say. It comes and it goes, boom. But
Yeah.
in that time period, you have to think that that the food is plentiful,
Very much so.
very much. So they're and then they go
Yeah.
and hibernate.
I remember a particular story that I remember doing a sighting report. This was in Sulphur Springs, Hopkins County, and I can't remember the name of the highway, but it was. I'm looking at it right now, but I can't remember off the top of my head. There was a sighting report of a Bigfoot crossing a 2-lane farm road, and we went out. I think they gave us the address, and we went out there and we looked at it, and it was in the middle of nowhere, and it was like woods that was like maybe, I don't know, 200 yards away from the freeway. And I said, why would it? And I looked around we looked for electrical right-of-ways, gas right-of-ways. And I couldn't figure it out. And I said, man, why would he come way through here? And we couldn't find any footprints because like the ground was really, really hard. It was gravel and all that stuff. And we walked around on this highway for a while. And I do recall walking up, and like as we walking down, I looked up, and long enough there was a pear tree there. And I go, that,
You like pears?
yeah. So it was like maybe
I
like
don't even eat a pear.
it was like
The top and the bottom, it tastes like sand.
it was like 30 yards off the freeway, and it was just like in this big empty lot.
How far was the foliage? How far was the woods? From
Maybe about, I don't know, like I was telling you, like 200 yards away.
So
it was like a long stare.
the tree was 30. So you're talking about
Yeah.
from the tree to the woods is another 170 yards.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like there was a couple bushes and trees around it, but not a whole lot.
But not
that
not enough that you think that he would go out there.
because it looked like there was other pear trees there, but they weren't doing as well as that one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I walked around for a while, and I remember looking. I said, man, that's the only reason why I would cross here. If I was a Bigfoot, I'd come around to this pear tree. I don't know. It was kind of odd.
I wonder if he peed on it to mark his pear tree.
I don't remember smelling it. So,
But I'm just saying, you're saying all the other ones weren't doing so well.
Yeah.
I mean, if Bigfoot pees on a tree and other
Yeah.
animals come, they're going to leave it alone. So,
Listen, bitch, this is my pear.
and that's my pear tree.
I do
So,
the same thing.
so
but, I mean, thinking of him wanting to be concealed and wanting to be hidden, the home dude had to be pretty hungry if he's coming out in broad daylight to a pear tree.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe he just thinking it was a good memory for him. I don't know.
But he's either hungry, or
he likes pears,
or female Bigfoot just broke up with him, and pears make him happy.
Or,
Yeah.
maybe he's
So-
just a big motherfucker that ain't giving a shit.
He's like, I
and-
don't care.
Yeah, he just kind of like, you see that like the biggest bull is just kind of usually the most chill.
Yeah.
Because he don't got shit to worry about.
Yeah. So he just kind of whatever. You see me, you see me.
Do you guys know the franchise Taco Mayo?
Taco Mayo?
Yeah, it's mostly up in Oklahoma.
No, never heard of it.
There was a story I remember. This was like right when I joined the TBRC. There was this guy, I can't think of his name, and he's not important anyway because I wasn't going to push him anyway. But he had this story.
Pass.
Yeah, he had this story about a Bigfoot going through a Taco Mayo dumpster. Like, I can't remember. I think it was in the south part of Oklahoma, probably maybe near the Arbuckle Mountains. But I forgot what's the name of town. What's the closest town? I can't think of it. Anyway, so but he was saying that it was a Bigfoot that went through a Taco Mayo dumpster, and that he saw it. And I don't know how credible he was. And I said, okay. And then it picked up a Taco Mayo cup. He says they picked up a Taco Mayo cup and drank out of it or something. Then threw it back in the dumpster and it took off.
That's great.
So he ran to the dumpster after the Bigfoot left and put it in a big Ziploc He says, I got his fingerprints. I got his fingerprints.
And what are you going to do
I got
with
his
it
fingerprints.
in case he commits a crime?
Dude, there's no record of Bigfoot fingerprints anywhere.
I know. And like we were asking to see it, and he wouldn't show it to us.
Yeah, because he doesn't have it.
Because I think potentially he wanted to join the TVRC, and he was just like too kooky.
Was that his way in? His a taco mayo cup?
I mean,
Hey,
it's not
let me in and I'll give you.
But because I assume that they can taste sweet.
Yeah.
That but I mean, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's whack.
I don't disprove. I don't. It's possible, but
I don't remember his name, and he was a kooky guy, and I remember he was friends with another member, and I don't know. He was trying to get him
trying to hustle up some cool points.
Yeah. Taco mayo.
Taco? I've never heard of taco mayo.
It's mostly in Oklahoma. So
never heard of it.
I remember when I was in Tulsa, I remember seeing taco mayo.
Well, I tell you, I was hanging on to that story all the way up until he picked up a taco mayo cup
And he drank it.
and he threw it back in there.
I can't. I want to say he said he drank it. Why would a Bigfoot pick up a taco mayo cup?
Why wouldn't he? I mean, maybe he just wanted some fucking Mountain Dew.
Yeah,
man.
maybe he's like, man, that smells good.
Maybe he wants some red drink.
Red drink.
That red dye number 40, it gets you hyped up.
Man, it'll get your juices flowing.
It will, man.
Kaylin, that was for you.
My friend's youngest daughter, she gets all hyped up on that red dye, and her dad was like, "Can I just buy that? Because I need whatever she."
I just need the red dye 41.
She was just like, "Whoop."
That's awesome. So I know I've had that, and then when I was talking about Concho last week, I was I had heard stories from somebody that had heard it from another story that the Bigfoots were in Concho on the reservation. They were stealing like watermelons and stuff like that. I know I talked about the grease pit, stuff like that. So that's another thing, watermelons and stuff.
And I know that, man, and I'm so upset with myself that I left Bennernagel's book at home with my notes in it. But I know in there that he mentions, and I know we talked about it briefly on not the last show, but the show before the last show that I was on. We talked about how I was surprised that he talked about Bigfoot being by coastal areas, being on the beaches. Right. And I know he talked about him eating like clams. And I think he said like even the crabs or something that was on the, like they would dig up the stuff in the beach and on the shoreline, and they would eat that. So that was intriguing to me because, like I said before, I'd never thought Bigfoot on the beach.
Yeah,
I've always thought of him in the woods because that is
Vancouver Island is pretty woody, but it's got beaches.
But it's got beaches, too, and so. I just didn't think of that. I never put beaches and Bigfoot together.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. You look at early human civilizations; most of them were in coastal areas, they're on the water, and because that's important. It's and food source is some way to travel.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't necessarily know if they're building boats yet, but anything's possible.
Yeah.
We already got chimpanzees and bonobo apes using tools. So what's the next step here? I think they believe that our great apes are entering their Stone Age now, and it's very interesting. So who knows what might be coming in the following years? I mean, just on that level, on the known animals that we
Yeah, I think John Benner, like you were saying, John Bennernagel's book, it talks about a lot of that stuff like that. I remember reading it myself, and he's talking about the Bigfoot's someone saw them walking with ducks, like a bunch of ducks, just had their ducks, like 3 or 4 ducks, and just walking through a water area and knee high or something like that.
Yeah, so. Like Bigfoot's in the water.
Yeah,
and he's got the ducks. Yeah.
So
which is kind of odd because isn't it kind of theoretical that they don't like to get their feet dirty?
Yeah,
they don't like to get walk in mud and stuff like that.
I that's what I hear in Texas, but
they can adapt. I mean, I know that's probably a different breed.
Yeah, different breed. Yeah,
and that's what I was gonna say. I think there's myriad Bigfoot out there.
Just depending on their environment.
Depending on their environment. I mean, they evolve to whatever their environment is. Whatever. Yep. I mean, obviously, if you're on the coast, you're gonna eat shellfish. You're gonna eat clams. You're gonna eat crab. Well, I mean, if you're in the woods, you're not gonna eat that because it's not there.
Right.
But I wanted to ask you. Several times you mentioned in stories about tree limbs. Really thick tree limbs being twisted.
Yeah.
Now, I've never really heard you, or I don't think I've ever asked you why they do this. Mm-hmm. But I want to ask you now, since we're talking about them eating.
Right.
Do you think it's has to do with their diet, has to do with them eating, has to do with their food?
No, I don't, because I know the first time I went out with Luke, which was in Sulphur Springs, and I was telling you we were on this lady's property, and it was right in the middle of a electrical right-of-way. Gas right-of-way. And he was telling me, hey, Bigfoot's going to come around like 3 a.m, and then it's going to come back around 5, and I go, how do you know? He says, you'll know. And so when we were there, I know I didn't go into detail about this story, but when we were there, we were sitting there quiet, and the dog, this lady had dogs. She had like 5 or 6 dogs. And so when the time came around for the Bigfoot to come around, those dogs just took off under the house. And so later, like maybe 2 minutes later, I could hear a big like pow. And I thought it was a shotgun. And I go, what is that? And Luke kind of motions to me like, shh, be quiet. And then pow, I heard it again. And then pow again. And I go, what is that? He says he's walking down the tree line, twisting trees. He's letting us know he's the alpha male. So he probably sensed us.
So that's a show of dominance.
Yeah, that he probably sensed us and just walked. And so the next morning came around. Well, let me finish the story. So he does that, leaves. The dogs come back out. So everything's okay. You could hear crickets and frogs and stuff again. Like, because whenever he came around, the crickets and the frogs, they ceased.
Everybody knows he's here.
Yeah. So whenever he left, they came back. The dogs came out, crickets, frogs. So when he came back again, like at 5 a.m, he yelled really loud, and that yell was so loud it vibrated my chest. So it sounded like it went on forever. Mm-hmm. And so the next morning, and then then he left. So next morning we get up, we go walking down, through the woods, try to find this tree line. It was a tree line full of bodart trees, and bodart trees are the hardest pieces of wood around.
And so they got giant thorns.
Yeah. And so this thing was like 8 feet up, and it was like a cascade. It was like he was walking down this one area, and you could see like the twist and all these like high ass branches. And so that, to me, I don't think it has anything to do with food. I just think it's just dominance.
He's just
maybe it's a territorial thing too.
Yeah. It was definitely a territorial thing.
To kind of be like, this is where I am. This is how big I am.
Yeah.
It's like, several animals, they do tree marking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like deer and whatever.
I was going to say deer are big at it. And I mean, they use it too to help their antlers grow and to sharpen their antlers and do all that stuff. But there's a lot of them that they mark their territory. They're like, hey.
It's scent, leaving your scent.
Leaving your scent. So I just, I've never asked you why they twist the branches. I just always heard you say they twist branches.
Yeah, because I think he smelled us, and he was trying to show how dominant it was. And so when he came back, he probably smelled us again, and we were still there. So he yelled at us and then left. So, and
I want to go back to Big Hairy Monster, and you saying that it's not Big Hairy Monster,
right?
And saying that that he's more docile than people give him credit for, and I think this is just a testament to that, because again, if he's that big, he can come out and I mean, obviously take you out, no problem.
Yeah,
but he's just saying, hey,
I'm here.
I'm here. As long as you stay there and don't do anything, I'm cool. Mm-hmm. But just know that if you start something, look what I can do.
Yeah. So
look what I can do.
That was, I didn't.
Stop it.
I don't want to say.
I didn't see him that night, but I heard him, smelled him, and that's
what he wanted.
Yeah. When I walked in the morning and I saw that, I looked at it with my own eyes. I said, "Damn, that scared the hell out of me. But I was with Luke, so then I was okay. So,
but yeah, that's
I was safe.
To me. That's big testament to your theory of this is, and again, are there some out there that are big hairy monsters? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably because that's in any. There's big hairy bad people.
Yeah.
There's big hairy bad bears. Any species there's going to be bad.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a testament to if he's really out there, that just shows me that he's not really out there just to kill people.
Yeah.
Or to kill anything.
He's just trying to coexist, and eat and go.
And just saying, hey, as long as you're there, we're cool.
Right.
But look what I can do. This could be your head.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that it's cool to me that when Home Dude comes around, everything just goes quiet.
Yeah, that always freaks me out.
That's eerie. I mean, I get chills thinking about it. Just being, because when you're in nature, man, there's a lot of sounds. Even at night.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sounds going on.
Especially at night.
Yeah.
In the summer.
Everything's, the woods come alive at night.
Yep.
And then here comes Big Daddy.
Yeah, Big Daddy Kane.
Nothing. Yeah.
Silent.
It's kind of, it's something.
And I think too that might be like, hey, I'm his food and I'm not getting eaten tonight.
Yeah.
I'm shutting up so he can't find me.
So I know Luke told me a story, and I when he gets here, we can ask him about it. But I remember him telling me a story, and I talked to you guys off camera about it. But he had drove into an area. I think this was in Oklahoma, and I want to say it was in the Arbuckles again. Mm-hmm. And he drove. I think another colleague of his drove a truck into this area that they thought Bigfoots were at. Mm-hmm. So they sat in the back. They lowered the bed out, and they sat on the back of the bed, and they were just like had a parabolic dish, and they were like listening. But before that, they had walked around and scouted the area.
I love it when you say that.
What?
Parabolic disc.
Parabolic dish.
Sorry, I had to say that.
So they went around, and I think they came across a thicket of Mexican plums, or a bushel of Mexican plums, and they picked off of it. Because Luke used to always do that. He would walk around with me. He'd pull stuff. He goes, "Here, Bob." He'd pour water on it, clean it off. "Here, Bob, eat this." And I would eat it. I was like,
Why do all our voices have smoker voice?
It was funny because you were like, why does Chris have an old lady smoker voice? It's like, he doesn't sound like that.
But
I laughed so hard whenever you said that. It was so funny. Because I'm like, I don't sound like that. But every time y'all go to talk about it, he's like,
Hey, guys. Oh, my God. This old smoking lady from Jersey.
here's the fun fact.
Here's your fun fact, darling.
Oh, Lord.
all right, so back to the Mexican plums.
But
that was funny. That was so funny.
But to me, that's the way Luke sounded like. "Here, Bob, try this."
I think you need to get your hearing checked. See a therapist. Everyone sounds like a smoker lady from New Jersey.
So him and his other colleague, they took the plums off this tree, and this was during the day. So then they walk back over to the vehicle, and then they sit there the rest of the night. The evening, the sun drops, and they're listening to the parabolic dish. And supposedly this Bigfoot comes through the area, and they could hear it like rustling through the bushes. And as it gets over to the area where the Mexican plums are at, there's no longer Mexican plums there. And so this Bigfoot screams really loud.
It's like pissed off because
roars at him.
Motherfucker! I've been waiting all day for these fucking plums, and I get home and someone ate them. Who was it?
I'm a local. This is my shit.
Yeah.
So I
peed on those plums.
So I do remember him telling me this story, and it was equated to food. So I just wanted to talk about that one.
So they ate Bigfoot's plums.
Yeah.
Were they still there? After, I mean, obviously they were there when he howled, but did they go back after he yelled at them and try to seek him out, or did they go?
I don't.
I would love to know what happened in that moment because they obviously pissed him off.
Yeah.
They they were the cause of this thing being pissed off.
I mean, I don't recall what if they went after him or not, but I do remember him telling me that as the night progressed, you know, because Luke was a smoker and he smoked, and
that's why he talks like that.
Hey, you guys, he does not talk like that.
But he was a smoker, and I don't know if he smokes now though. Hopefully he doesn't, because I want him to live a long time. But anyway,
thanks, Tyler. Mom, listen. He takes both hands. I don't want you to die.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
It finally did.
but I do recall him telling me that when they were sitting in the back of the truck, he was smoking. Every time he would inhale and the end of the cigarette would light up, he would hear like, you know, them growling at him. And so every time he did it, he said, every time I inhaled, they growled at us.
That's enough to make me stop smoking. Yeah. I'd be done.
Yeah. I'm out the door.
Secondhand smoke is a killer too.
Because Bigfoot says so.
Yeah.
So we're like...
that's the new spokesperson. Fuck Smokey the Bear. It's not Smokey the Bigfoot.
So we're 41 seconds in.
41 seconds in.
Yeah. That's pretty good though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Whatever you say. You know what I just realized? We did not open up the segment.
We didn't, did we?
No.
Motherfucker.
We just rolled
jumped into it.
We just rolled right in. Sasquatch could be Jack Black's daddy.
Oh, he is from California.
he could be a descendant of the Sasquatch.
Yeah, he can, because that's the coast.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Salish.
Well,
It's Salish. Sasquatch.
His papa. He's a little baby sass.
Papa, don't go.
On the strawberry river.
I'll say anything. Papa, don't go.
Sassy Squatch.
What movie is that from?
Papa Don't Go?
Papa, don't go. I'll say anything.
Was that Pennies in Heaven?
I'll say anything. Don't go.
Oh, that's from Big Daddy.
No.
It's not?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's from The Patriot with Mel Gibson.
Oh, yeah. I only watch like emotionally crippling movies sometimes.
Yeah.
That's a pretty emotionally
I think
crippling
I watched
movie.
it a few times.
There's a lot of people that die in that movie.
But that, I'm going to need more than that scene.
But yeah. I
What?
don't,
That's like one of the most iconic. She hadn't
with
talked
the
in
little
like
girl. Yeah.
months.
Yeah. No. I trauma blocked it from my memory.
Trauma blocked it from my memory. Okay. I dig it.
So yeah, I was trying to think, you know, because I know I had some other stuff about food and Bigfoot, and I think there was another one I did. I want to say it was like east of Marshall, and it was on this lady's property, and she had a peach tree.
Is this the one that was on the minstrel cycle?
No,
Or is that a different
one? No.
That was at Hallsville, wasn't it?
Was that
No,
that also happened.
the minstrel cycle one was in Paris too.
Okay.
It was in Paris.
Two different.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I remember what you're
They're
talking
running
about.
because I thought she had a peach tree too.
I don't remember.
I don't
maybe.
remember. Anyway,
But the listeners probably going, minstrel cycle. What's going on here?
I'm just trying to connect the stories. man.
yeah.
You told me a ton of
No,
them.
this one was the one of her son was a cowboy guy, and I could never tell what he was saying. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He was the one
Yeah.
he would come talk. He would come talk because she was pretty. She was like in I think her late 70s, so she couldn't really get out of the house and show us stuff. So he showed up.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
he's a tall dude. He's a real nice guy. But he would talk to us. He would go, hey, nice to meet you over there. Raccoon. He would do that. I go, what the?
Do
Was
that
he
again.
Cajun?
I don't know. I mean, he was a nice dude, and like I remember we spent the night there, and he had a radio. I said, "Why did you give him a radio?" Because I couldn't tell what to say. Because he going, the left side
And a crowded.
Strong side.
So he was just I go, oh my god, I can't tell. I
Just throw in some Remember the Titans.
I was hoping somebody would get it.
strong side. But
Hey, that coach just died though. By the way.
Oh yeah.
T. Boone Pickens coach. Yeah.
Radio.
Not T. Boone Pickens.
Radio
that's not
did
his
die
name.
too.
Yeah,
Radio died too. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, they both died.
it's been a long time since the 60s.
Yeah.
So
Shout out to Radio.
Yeah.
But
I can't remember I can't remember the coach's name though.
But yeah,
T. Boone Pickens was a high schooler,
this was the guy I was telling you about.
or maybe that was Radio's high school.
I was telling you a
Anyway.
story. I was telling you a story at work the other day. You remember that?
Yeah, this is when you said raccoon.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that guy.
But
Oh my god.
but that's what stuck to me was like she had a peach tree, and the Bigfoots were taking taking peaches off the tree. It was right next to her house, and so they were right on the electrical right away. She had acres of land. So we got on this electrical right away. We spent the night there. I think we had two teams. One was by her house, and the other one was on the electrical right away. We never saw a Bigfoot because I think it rained that night. So, but that guy is, man, he was a cool dude. I didn't understand what he was saying.
He was a boomhauer.
Yeah,
That's tough.
big time. You know,
He probably had a lot of good stuff to say too.
Oh yeah, I probably did, but
I probably told you the whole story. and
Yeah.
everything that
And I was
happened
like,
and what's the key.
I was sitting there. I was sitting there
You
with
need
a
to learn
pad.
French.
I was sitting there with a pad and pen, and I was hearing it go, huh. And the last word, raccoon. Okay, I'm right.
Left side.
What else?
I could figure it out. That I have
Yeah.
a lot of relatives from South Louisiana.
Do you really?
It takes about a day. You get into the rhythm, and you okay.
When I was stationed in Louisiana, I had a buddy of mine who was from Slidell, Louisiana, and
Slidell.
man, they were some backwood folk. I can tell you that. And he was my interpreter when I went to talk to his family because I couldn't understand a word they were saying, and he would have to interpret. I mean, there were some things that I could pick out, but there was no way that I was going to come out with a whole conversation and know what they were saying. So
Yeah.
he would translate for me.
I think that's a little on purpose too. Sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
they know how hard they're talking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
Oh, and man, I tell you what, the more alcohol you put in them,
Oh, yeah.
holy cow!
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not like a Bigfoot.
Exactly. That's my point.
So it wasn't ever a Bigfoot. It was just a
It was just the drunk Cajuns.
yeah. Bon temps roulé.
Get it go, get it go, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it.
Yeah, that's Tyler. Get to go outside.
Outside.
Aye.
Sold.
Yeah, we're back at the auction.
Cajun
Tyler.
Tyler's toddler Cajun auction.
That's awesome. We got Godzilla.
Oh no! Here goes the cute.
Tyler's toddler Cajun auction. Oh man,
Oh,
we got to
that's-
put that on a T-shirt.
I know, big time.
Oh my goodness.
Not the
No,
big
he would
time.
get embarrassed. He would get embarrassed now because he's 13. He's too cool for
Yeah,
school.
he's too cool for school.
Yeah.
Well, when he gets to 21, we're gonna do it. so.
Yeah. Or 18.
Or 18, yeah, not 21, 18. Oh, that is awesome. That's so funny. So yeah, all this we just I mean, we solved the mystery right there. It's not Bigfoot at all. It's drunk Cajuns.
It's drunk Cajuns,
Cajuns talking
man.
here.
I believe it. I've heard some stories from my grandma.
Where's my persimmons?
Look at that pretty pear tree.
Jesus Christ.
I know. We're going to hell.
Oh well.
Oh my goodness.
So we're 49 seconds in.
49 seconds in.
We're going to hell.
Yeah.
Here.
Maybe.
Maybe we should.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to actually. I wouldn't mind going to Somerset though because they got that cool museum.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of creepy.
Well,
It's all
our next topic has hell in it.
Yeah.
So,
You guys ready?
That's it? Sure.
You guys ready to go over?
Show.
Okay.
hey, you got to lead out.
Yeah.
You got to lead out because we didn't lead in.
Okay. Yeah. I got to do that. Ready?
Ready.
Down where the Sasquatch hide, in the misty mountainside, he's got shiny diamonds.
So we're leaving Bigfoot now.
You got to say it right. We're leaving what?
Bigfoot.
What was that?
I don't know. I was trying to copy you.
No, if it was Cajun, it'd be like the Rougarou.
Da la rugaru.
The Rougarou. Yeah.
Da rugaru.
change it up a little bit. The paranormal.
That's pretty cool.
Thanks, man.
Hey.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So we left off on Heller, right?
Hellier.
Hellier.
You always say Heller.
Heller.
Through that whole show, when I was listening to it, I was screaming at you.
I was thinking about Jerry Heller
It's Hellier.
from NWA.
Not hell, not helliest,
Yeah.
but just the hellier.
Hellier. There you go.
Heller.
I love it. I love it.
Hellier and helliest. That's
Yeah.
the next level.
Yeah.
That's what
So-
season 3 is.
Yeah, you got points on that one.
I was screaming at you, man.
Were you really?
Yeah,
Well, you weren't on the show
I know.
because you kind of like lost your job.
I did. Stop saying Heller.
So,
It's Hellier.
Hellier.
So we left on. I think it was. Did we talk about episode 2? I don't know.
No,
No.
You just-
'cause you guys
you-
are slackers, man.
you just went to episode 1.
Right.
That's all you covered.
Because I don't have any notes on 2. I got notes on 3, 4, and 5.
Okay, before we do any of this, all right, I wasn't here.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything to do with that show.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah. This is kind of like your fun fact.
This is kind of like a fun fact, I guess you could say. Though it didn't happen, it happened to me on this day. But the whole thing was about synchronicity.
Right.
The whole concept, and really this whole thing in Hellier, the whole kind of the whole thing is based on synchronicity, because that's what pulled them to this in the first place,
Right.
and that's what's kind of kept them going down this rabbit hole. It all started for us whenever we got an email from your friend Tim.
Yeah. Cassius Tim Clay.
Yeah, Cassius Tim Clay.
Yeah.
We got an email. Well, he sent us 2 things in that email. One was the Bigfoot call,
Right.
which we had already done.
The Ontario. Mystery
yeah,
How.
Bigfoot, which is some of the best audio I've heard. Now, obviously, I haven't heard near much of you, but
Right.
that was awesome audio. Then he sent us this thing on Hellier, Kentucky. Then, while we're in the middle of that show, and mind you, we're not live, obviously. While we're in the middle of that show, after he sent us this on Hellier, your moderator for Penn, Texas,
Tanya Moret.
Tanya Moret, sends you the same link
Yeah.
to Hellier
Right.
and says, "Hey, you should look at this."
Yeah.
All right, Hellier, Kentucky.
Right.
You had mentioned to me that we were going to be talking a little bit about Skinwalker Ranch,
Yeah.
which is in Utah.
Right.
So I start looking up things about Skinwalker Ranch. I pull up a story that I thought was on Skinwalker Ranch by Thinker Thunker.
Thinker Thunker.
Thinker Thunker.
Right. Say that 3 times.
Thinker Thunker, Thinker Thunker, Thinker Thunker.
Didn't it
So-
a motorcycle?
So I got to thinking, what is Thinker Thunker? I know I've heard Thinker Thunker somewhere. Well, Tim,
Yeah.
your buddy that sent us the thing, what he sent us was from Thinker Thunker.
That he was reviewing it.
Yes.
He was analyzing the art, but because the video that the YouTube that we used didn't have
Thinker Thunker.
It was just like the person.
It was the person.
Right. Okay.
But the one that he was reviewing, Thinker Thunker, was the one that was reviewing this audio. Okay? So this story is from Thinker Thunker. All right? And mind you, I was thinking that I was going to be
Look
talking
at
about
Skinwalker
Skinwalker Ranch in Utah.
right.
So I'm starting to read this, and this happened right here at this table tonight before
Right.
we were on mic.
Yeah.
I'm reading through this story, and I'm like, hey, we're going to talk about Skinwalker Ranch. And lo and behold, it's a story about 3 kids going missing. Where?
Kentucky.
Kentucky. On a Thinker Thunker website, who's connected to Tim, who's connected to Tanya, who's connected to this whole
Yeah.
synchronicity thing.
Oh, it just keeps going deeper.
It keeps going deeper because it talks about this little boy. One, what did they say? They say there's crying in the woods.
Yeah.
Well, this story says that these people were walking through the woods and they heard a baby crying in the woods.
And didn't on Hellier they talk about
that
a baby was in a cave crying?
right, and later on, I can't remember whose book it was that they said mentions that's a common hallucination, auditory hallucination that people hear our baby crying.
Wasn't it Keel's book?
Yeah,
it was
one of
Keel.
them. I couldn't remember
It
if
was
it was
Keel.
him or not. It was his book. That
So, yeah, Chill's going everywhere.
Common hallucination is a baby crying,
A baby crying and
a car
door slamming.
A car door slamming.
which kind of goes with the whole doppelganger stuff that we were talking about. That where you think someone's home or whatever,
Right.
and then they're not.
Mimics, doppelgangers, it all ties in.
Changelings,
It's
shapeshifters.
probably all the same thing, just a different name.
Yeah. So
Spooky shit.
what this talks about is it talks about two incidences, a little boy and a little girl. It mentions three, but it doesn't go into the third one. It just goes into the little boy and little girl. But it says this little boy, he survived 3 nights of sub-zero temperatures, freezing rain, and heavy winds. Search crews and volunteers combed the area until weather forced them to stop. Then a woman walking her dog hears a baby's voice in the woods alongside her walk path. Alerts the police. They find the toddler in a briar patch that was only accessible by wading through the water. And it has a pretty sarcastic little thing here that's pretty funny. It says, lost toddlers typically don't go swimming by themselves in freezing cold water, then hang out in the briar patches. And if they did, you wouldn't think they would survive.
Right.
What's really weird is the little boy credited a bear for rescuing him and keeping him safe, warm, and fed, and instantly the public and the press fell in love and never once questioned the idea of an angelic bear who, instead of acting like a bear, saved this poor boy's life.
I was wondering that maybe it was a misidentification. It was maybe a Bigfoot.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
this
that makes more
is a
sense.
kid.
You wouldn't know what that was.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, I can remember being a kid and my mom showing me a picture of a bear and saying, hey, bear, bear, bear. I did it with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So if this toddler is in the woods
Yeah.
and this big hairy thing comes up to him, what's the closest in relation to that?
A bear.
A bear.
Yeah. Because a bear can't pick up and nurture somebody, right?
Right.
Have you ever heard, Mowgli
Yeah.
in the Jungle Book, but that's a made up story, you know?
But there are cases of feral children a lot, but
Yeah.
we don't really know their stories because they lack language. A lot of times they're very developmentally delayed. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing videos of this girl. It wasn't in the wild, but they just basically left her in a room with dogs her whole life, and she survived somehow because we adapt.
Yeah.
But there's cases all through history of feral children like that. But obviously we don't really know.
Right.
Other than this is how they're behaving, we're going to associate with their behavior with what it seems like the animal that they're acting like. But who knows what might be out there keeping these kids alive? I think there was a case of he wasn't a baby, but a younger child that got separated in the woods and was with a bunch of a clan of monkeys, and they took care of him.
Mm-hmm.
I think animals are able to, especially intelligent ones, to discern children from adults.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is innocent. This is something that needs help.
Nurture.
And and it goes back to they're not out there to harm unless they're being harmed themselves.
I would probably like to go and maybe research that story a little bit
I would
more.
too.
Yeah.
Now that I know, and this is a little kid that's been through, sub-freezing temperatures, water, all this, and here is this, what he claims to be a bear, which obviously we said the closest thing that he has in his mind to what this big hairy thing is a bear, and it kept him safe. It made, and here's the thing too. It didn't keep him. It put him in an area to where it could be found.
Yeah.
It could have easily kept him. No, but it let him go and it let him be found.
Right. I'm not a wildlife biologist, but I'm pretty sure a bear wouldn't do that.
I don't think so. I'm thinking a bear would think food.
Yeah.
Or it would just
just leave it alone.
Yeah.
It wouldn't try to interact with it.
Yep. Classic case of misidentification.
So either there's a Bigfoot, a nice bear, or there's somebody in the woods that's dressed up like a big hairy thing.
Yeah.
That looks like a bear, and it took care of this kid.
Or it's a skinwalker.
Or it's a skinwalker.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's in Utah. This is in Kentucky.
Yeah.
But hey,
There's
could
caves.
be.
There's caves.
Yeah.
An
And that's another thing. That's another thing that I wanted to touch on is because this happened in the northern part of Kentucky. We Ash was looking it up before the show, and I think Robert, you did too a little bit. But we determined that this story happened in the northern part of Kentucky.
Well, the one that I'm not sure the little boy, but the one that I found
was it the little girl?
It was a little girl.
Okay, that story's
which
on
I've
here
seen
too.
Several stories
Somerset?
about that. No, it's nowhere near Somerset. I was just looking up
Okay.
but it is in Lebanon.
Was it a little autistic girl?
Lebanon Junction, the one with the pit bull?
Yeah, with
But
the pit bull.
It was
yeah.
near Louisville.
Yeah, that was that story was. It tells a story about the little autistic girl and the pit bull.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that even the pit bull came back. Mm-hmm. So that's even more wild.
How long was the little boy gone for?
3 days.
Let me see. I'm trying to see how long she was gone for too, and see if that is.
Well, it says 3 nights.
3 nights, and see how long she was gone for. She was gone for nearly 2 days. So,
Yeah, after. Oh, that's in between. It says after 2 to 3 days, then another one happened. In my story, it doesn't say how long she was gone.
Yeah.
Oh, two days. 2 days. Yeah, it says down here 2 days.
And then she just showed up on her neighbor's porch.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Even if there's nothing to that, just that the dog knew how to get her back home.
Yeah.
Stuff. I mean, that's pretty.
That's pretty amazing in itself.
Just that it wrangled the 2-year-old to come home. And, of course, the dog can come home, but getting that baby home too, or at least to a house.
Down here at the bottom, it says, what's even more bizarre is that oftentimes rescued children in these stories tell of big, shaggy dogs or bears that saved them, cared for them, and fed them berries or whatever was available.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It is.
That's really interesting. And it goes on shaggy dogs and bears and sometimes gorillas here in the U.S. were involved. What do you think about it? I think if it's anything, I don't think it's a bear. I don't think it's a big dog.
No.
If anything, like I said, it's a Bigfoot, or it's a big it's a guy.
It's a something.
It's a something that's big and hairy, but I just don't believe a bear would do that.
Right.
And I don't think a wild dog would do that either. Because here's the thing with this little girl: if another wild dog was out there and she has a pit bull with her, they're going to get into a fight.
Right.
Because that wild dog is not going to let that pit bull come unless that pit bull tore the wild. Yeah. But anyway, we can go into all kinds of rabbit holes. But
if you could go, like, when I was looking up stuff about a lot of how that sort of activity and UFO sightings and the things where they believe that there's kind of like there's 2 schools, and they cover that in season 2 and stuff. But I've heard this several other times. There's the bad aliens or whatever you want to call them that come from Orion. There's the good ones that come from the Dog Star. And that's, if you look like, also like in the Hellier story and in the Skinwalker story.
Yeah.
Lots of dogs are killed by these bad aliens. But the good ones
are cared for.
Yep. And here's another one where we have a dog.
We have a dog. And what's crazy to me is because the first in Hellier, the first incident happened in Hopkinsville in like 1955.
Right.
And that's when the guy saw the goblins, and then they come back and they're in Hellier where the goblins are, and the guy wrote them and all that good stuff. Terrorist wrote them. Dr. David Christie wrote them. They can't find them. All that. Anyway, the thing that just this really sets with me is this cave system.
Right.
Is this mammoth cave system, and I've looked up maps of this cave system, and it is massive.
Yeah.
It is huge. So, when you talk about these incidences with these dogs, with all this, with kids and all this, being in this one area, and I know they're pretty far apart, but it's not so crazy to think that it's all connected whenever they have pathways that they can use to connect. And if we're talking about being in the paranormal realm or the sci-fi realm with the aliens and all that stuff, it's nothing to them go from one side of a state to another if they have,
especially if if it's not really the caves that are connecting. That's what they're using to cover it, but they're traveling on a different plane.
Yeah. And
another
that's
thing, that when I was looking, they said that a lot of times that the benevolent, the good ones, they're associated with the Bigfoot sightings. Like they don't think like that's what side he's on.
Right.
Over here is the good guys, and then there's those three-toed things over here.
Yeah.
Which, they mentioned it too, that Orion was called the cock's foot, like a rooster. Which that's what it looks like. That's where they're from, but
3 toes.
Coincidentally enough,
that's
also what their feet look like.
That's weird.
It is weird.
Which also, I have a question too. The incident in Falk, if I'm not mistaken, did not that
3 toes.
Yeah.
And another thing to me is when you look at these pictures of these footprints that they've gotten from these. Obviously, they said dermal ridges, but there's no heel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's just
they walk on their toe.
Yeah, they walk on their toe.
Tippy toeing.
And I can think of every time I've ever thought of an alien or ever seen anything about an alien or anything like that, they're always on their tiptoes.
Yeah.
Look at Men in Black. I know it's a fake movie, but when they're in alien form, they walk on their toes.
Most animals do. Horses, dogs, they don't walk on their heels. They walk on the pad of their foot.
Right.
So if they might not be primarily bipedal.
Yeah.
Too.
I mean, because I know this. I'm going off topic really quick. The African continent, they always have athletes that win marathons, and every time they run, they don't run on their heels.
They run on their toes.
They run on their toes.
It's kind of what I'm getting at. It's and I know this might be far fetched for y'all to sink in. I don't know, but I'm when we go back to mimics, when we go back to copycats, and we go back to when I've never seen a footprint that looks like that from any animal, from any human, from anything, but it's walking like other animals. It's walking like other things that we've discussed. And I'm just, it boggles my mind to think of how smart these things can be. Yeah. And how smart. And I'm going to go back to the spiritual aspect of Bigfoot and the Native Americans, and go back to thinking what our minds. One of the things that his wife said in that thing was whenever they went to Hellier, they could feel the of that place. It just felt like a bad place. But I'm thinking in my head that if I didn't know anything about Hellier, Kentucky, and I drove through it, I wonder if I would feel the bad or if they're feeling the bad because they know it. And I'm not saying that it's not bad, because obviously this is a bad place.
Well, not in Hellier, but in Somerset, they said that the magnetic frequencies affects people there because there is a huge deposit of quartz. If you look at the magnetic lines, it's basically like these two things. They're just like attracting and repelling each other. It's just like because of the magnet, you know, Earth's natural magnetization, but also in that county that they have a huge mental health problem.
Yeah.
And that brings to mind like how electromagnetic waves and things like that affect your frontal lobe. It can cause hallucinations. It can cause seizures.
Yeah.
So even if there are weird things going on here, I can't help but think maybe that sort of thing is affecting people's brains, and it might not be mental health at all, or the mental health is being caused because they're having seizures and things like that. You know, it might not be conventional, but it's a symptom that presents as that because of these electromagnetic interference. They're seeing things, they're feeling things.
Yeah.
It could be that it is happening, but also this is all, you know, contributing to it.
Yeah.
I mean, because that town has got a lot of stuff going on. It's got, like, from what I know, episode 3, 4, and 5, they're talking about UFOs that linger so long that people get bored.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about Bigfoot, and then they talk about, you know, goblins, and then, like,
That's
baby
exactly
signs.
my point. That's exactly what I'm trying to get at is, yes, it could be caused by magnetic fields. It could be caused by all that. But there was also a person that they interviewed in there that was born and raised in this town that didn't have a clue about what was going on.
Right.
Right.
He didn't hear anything. But then right after when he's leaving, he's like, hey, watch out. Don't trust everybody around here. He obviously knows something. But my point is your preconceived notions of a place can make you
Absolutely.
make you see things, hear things. I'm just when I try to wrap my brain around man, try to say that fast 3 times.
Yeah.
It goes into that. What's the electric magnetic field? What are the stories that you've heard?
Yeah.
What has anybody told you? What do you already know? What were your feelings before you went into this place?
Yeah. I don't recall them ever showing, like, a K2 meter or
They never showed anything.
Right.
Not in the first 2 episodes. I know that.
Right.
That's the first. That's as far as I've gotten.
They later went and did, you know, more research, more field stuff, but I don't remember them ever using
I don't
that
either.
sort of thing.
I
But
don't-
also, I don't know. I mean, it might not have.
Because that can kind of affect
Yeah.
them too, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I mean, I'm Jinx. Yeah, I'm just saying that's what I'm getting at. All of this activity that's going on, people seeing aliens, people seeing Bigfoots, people seeing goblins, people seeing this, and people seeing that. How much is it that preconceived notion, or how much is it that you know, whatever is out there is manipulating itself into what they want that person to see,
Right.
or what that person is making themselves see, and that goes back to the spiritual aspect in the Native Americans about they don't even have a name for this thing in this area that you were in before. They just say it's from the ground.
Right.
You know, when you look back, it's from the ground, and that's where I can wrap my head around Bigfoot being real.
Yeah.
In that realm, like I said, to me it's not flesh and blood. But then you get to the story about it saving this kid, and it might be flesh and blood. But man,
It could be, but it's more
Right.
in line with a greater intelligence.
Exactly.
That we understand. You know, I don't want to really get into like the religious aspect, but to me, that's kind of. I think that there might be things out there that are more evolved than us and on intellectual levels and things like that that go beyond. You know, they say that they don't communicate with language; they communicate with emotion,
Right.
and things like that. And these things are, you know, Bigfoot or whatever. You know, I think they're intelligent, and they could be communicating with them and working through them.
well,
But even so, you know, I mean, it kind of, you know, think about it, the ancient alien theory. You know, what's to say that they're not working on them that way that allegedly they did with humans?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so. It's not. How do I want to put this? Since I've been on this podcast and since I've started digging into Bigfoot and all this, Bigfoot researchers believe that it is flesh and bone. It's an animal that's flesh and bone, that can breathe, that can pee, that can poop, but me, the more I dig into it, the side that I lean on is the supernatural side, is the spiritual side of this creature. And I go back to stories that my papa told me, and just remember the details of the stories that he told me. And that's what people are told about Bigfoot. That's what, from the moment that I knew what Bigfoot was, I was told and I learned that it was a big hairy monster in the woods. But the more I dig and the more I research and I talk and I do all this, I can jump on the spiritual aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it being a being that is manifesting in somebody's mind. So did you have some?
I don't know.
You opened your book over there.
Well, I just want they're just kind of a coincide when I get into, because I have a little write up on skinwalkers too. But I just want to say, like, when it comes to that aspect too, both could be possible, but we just don't understand it because we don't have the science to understand it. Yeah.
And I know that you said you didn't want to go into the religious part of it. My faith tells me that God made man, we go to heaven, we go to hell. But he also tells me that there's a lot of stuff that we are not to understand.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff out there that I do not understand. I don't know the Bible backwards and forwards. I don't. I know what I've learned. I know what I've been taught. But I also know that he says that there's a lot of stuff out there that we are not to understand. And I'm not saying that this is the stuff that he's talking about. But, man, there sure are a lot of stuff that's happened in my life that I don't understand.
Right. But one day we might. I mean, I like to use this example. It's like, let's look at 30 years ago. The giant and colossal squids are a myth.
Yeah.
The coelacanth was extinct.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that we were told are
no longer
gone, are just monsters, and that now that we've discovered, because we finally have the technology to measure it, to go to those steps, to explore places that we never had before that we're finding.
Well, I think I go back to my papa, and I'll go back to my papa a lot, but he was born in 1903. In 1903, did you think in 1903 that they were going to put a rocket on a moon?
Just show them a cell phone.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You made my point exactly for me. No, they didn't think that, they're going to put a man out. They didn't even think that we could walk around with a device in our hands that does everything for us. No, all that stuff was absolutely unexplainable to them.
And yet we don't have flying cars.
Yeah. It's because, like you said, technology, it grows, it grows, it grows, it grows. Everything gets faster and better. But I just think about how much has changed. And you said in the past 30 years, I'm 38 years old. So I can think back whenever I was a kid and just how much has changed in the past 38 years since I've been on the earth.
Right.
And it is massive. Massive.
In the scope of the universe, we're just barely getting started.
We're specks of sand.
There's probably things out there that are just so far beyond our understanding and comprehension.
Yeah.
Realms
that
and
that existed. So billions and billions of years before. I mean, I think it's a little arrogant to think that we're the only planet with life. Just because we haven't got there yet. And that's a theory that these things that do visit us are not traveling by space. They're traveling through different dimensional ways, which is a common mythos with this. That there are portals, there are doorways, and that is a common thing in a lot of religious ideology.
That's a hard word to say.
Get it go.
Outside.
Do you guys think there's possibly a portal in Kentucky?
I don't know, man.
I don't. I believe we're the portals. I don't believe that there's like a portal that you walk through. I don't believe that. I believe that if the other side wants to come over here, they use us. That's what I believe. So I don't believe, like, if you walk, like they were talking about that in a tunnel, right? That they believe that if you go into this cave, it's a portal. I don't think that it'd be, even if it is that somewhere that they might have opened it, it's just left. Yeah. To like whatever, because good God, I mean, what could happen? You don't want to leave your front door open. You don't.
Yeah. You can come in and out.
Because they were kind of saying like, a door closes, the windows open.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they believe that some parts of the universe, the windows open, and it's easier to read information and stuff like that. So, the second episode, the ink in the black. I know that was kind of like Ingrid Cold kind of reference a little bit.
Ingrid Cold, yeah.
Because I know they were driving to Hellier. Did I say it right? Hellier.
To Tennessee.
And they were driving, and I think Carl was trying to. I think he was piecing a lot of the Mothman prophecy stuff, like that. And
he was just going through notes and stuff.
So I know they drove into town, and
he was going through a conversation between two people. But I can't. It was like Ingrid Cold, and
it was Terry Riss, rather wasn't it Terry Riss?
I can't remember. But anyway, they were going through a conversation, and they were speaking in code to each other in cipher,
like the third order or the
third order and
all that stuff. So and so he was kind of because like I think on the email it had said the word ink in black,
right?
And they tied it into the
black.
The ink in the black is. Oh man, I had it on my other notes at home and I forgot them. But the ink in the black is something, and MIA, and the third order is MIA.
Right.
Use the numbers or something like that.
Yeah, and he provided them like GPS and it was
there was coordinates and all that.
It was Hellier, right?
Yep.
So I know that was going on and on that episode, and I think they were doing a Gansfield. Like, did I say that right? Gansfield? Is that? Yeah. They were. I personally have never done that. Never done that.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I've never seen that, but it's I was talking about that, with Mandy. That it is. I've never seen that method before. I like to maybe see it in practice. I don't know if I necessarily.
I don't know if I want to. I would want to do that.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd want to, but that's one of the reasons why. Oh man, not Carl, but the main guy.
Connor? No. Greg.
Greg, thank you. Said that he was drawn to Carl and Connor because of their different ways of doing things.
Right, that's a very good thing. You know, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily a research team, like, they don't have an anagram name or, any of that crap. I'm sorry. But, that prepackaged whatever. But that I like that method. It's like you find a different person from different angles and different methods, because that's kind of a more scientific way of doing it. Yeah. As much as you can get scientific with this sort of thing. I mean, you need different schools of thoughts to test and come up with your different results and find your meaning.
Because I think they went to that route because they were getting leads in Hellier.
Not the helliest.
They were getting leads.
Hellier.
They were getting leads, and then like they wouldn't show up, or they wouldn't answer the phone, or they'd say, "Hey, we can't do it," or something like that. Because I think they talked to a lady named Tammy, and she had a grandson.
They had gone out in the woods, but
he had been in the woods and taken pictures.
Yeah, and he heard baby cries.
Yeah,
and,
I think eventually he had his buddy call and tell the stories about finding the tracks, but they never had any.
So they kind of led him to that Gansfield to get some kind of information and stuff like that. So I think that's how the second episode ended, right? They were.
I don't remember because it
ended.
Because the third episode opens up with them still doing it.
Okay. So, right.
I was gonna say it ended. That's how it ended.
Yeah,
that's how it ended.
Because like he was giving off information. They were asking him questions about who are you, all this stuff, and they were talking about 48 minutes,
48, yeah,
a tin can,
yeah,
all kinds of stuff, and then
that not to give away spoilers. I don't know, but that's very significant later on.
Right. So since you haven't seen the rest of it, you want to stop talking about it? And
no, y'all can.
Okay.
Don't worry about spoiling it for me. Go for it.
So, because I remember that one ended that way. They were still doing the experiment. They were at their cabin and they were doing experiments.
Yeah, they had gone because they were in the woods and then they'd gone back to the cabin. Well, they were. It's starting to. They were at the cabin when they were doing it. They had gone. I thought they were in the woods, but they weren't. They had gone back to the cabin. Yeah.
And so they were still doing it, and I think this episode is when they realized that David Christie, they had gone into town right after they got all this information, and they went into town to look for his driver's license, to deed, or whatever, that he was in that town. And they went to after courthouse.
Well, because nobody had ever heard of this guy.
No one ever heard of him.
Yeah.
All sorts of things, you know.
And so they went and they couldn't find anything. So they were kind of like, they're kind of in the mood like, you know what? I guess this door closed, and we're not going to worry about it no more, because obviously he doesn't exist. But I can't remember if that was, no, I think it was episode 4. Whenever, I'm trying to see here my notes here, because I know they ran into Tammy again, and her son had decided to go hunting, so they ran into another guy named Joey at the gasoline station where they sent him
that's where they like kind of made their home base.
Yeah, he was an amateur cave guy, and he talked about like he saw like engrams like on the paintings on the wall.
Cornstalk.
Yeah.
Cornstalk.
Yeah.
Who had
Shawnee, right?
And he's buried in Point Pleasant, and they said that he had cursed the land, and that's when men started to appear.
That's the same Native Americans are in this part of Kentucky too. The same Native Americans were in that part of that. So same as the Mothman, same as that one. That's kind of odd. So, so he was talking about like the caves had drawings of like flaming eyes, snakes. And Chief Cornstalk. That's what. Man, that's kind of crazy on that one. So they talked to him on the phone, and I forgot how. Either he couldn't meet up with him or something like that at the end of the episode or something. But that's the way I remember it. I don't know if on that part. So, and I think the next episode is called Slivers of the Future. And then they find out on that one that they actually look up David Christie's IP address.
And they find out that it was from Ontario, but they also think that he probably used a VPN.
Yeah, he was using, because they had 3 hits. They had Ontario, Los Angeles, and some other place. I can't remember.
So he's just pinging everywhere.
Yeah, he's pinging.
He's using a scrambler.
Yeah.
So they were thinking that, said, man, why would a retired doctor, use a VPN to hide his? Because like they don't know whether he was from Kentucky or not or something. So.
Right.
It's almost like he was like a messenger, in a way, to send them that information so they can go there and they can do all this.
Well,
stuff.
that's man, to me, just in the first 2 episodes, they picked whoever this is that's messing with them or doing this to them, picked them and made them go there.
Yeah.
I mean, they did.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that they wanted them to go there for some reason, because I'm thinking in my head, if this is happening to me, I ain't going.
Yeah.
This is too freaking weird, man.
Yeah.
The 2 people are that I'm supposed to be the only one that has a legit reference is Terry R. Wrist.
Yeah.
And that was in that book.
The Euphonauts. Yeah.
And that was supposed to be some spoof.
Yeah.
Just like, some kind of just goofy story.
Not really though, but
I'm saying as far as the general public is concerned.
Well, yeah, but the general public kind of thinks the whole thing is.
I know that's what I'm saying.
But
but it's there's not supposed to be any credibility to that. Is kind of where I'm getting.
Yeah.
But this David Christie one, he did say that he was new to the area.
Right.
And he said he was only there for about 7 months.
7-8 months. Yeah.
And he said it was after the first 3 months. It was in the 4th month when all the crap started happening.
He started getting hassled, yeah.
And he stayed there, and then he just up and left. So if he is new and he did move to that area, he might not have registered anything.
Yeah.
But he's got to be registered somewhere.
Yeah.
If he's a doctor, there's got to be something that's registered to a Dr. David Christie.
Yeah.
Because But I don't think he is.
Right.
I think it's just all made up to get them in this area.
Yeah, they think that the name Christie is probably a fake name for several reasons, because there's a lot of, religious pointing and references and rebirth and Christ references, and they think maybe it's like, that's where he gets his name from. But they did find a David, whatever, M or I can't remember, middle initial, and then a different last name that they talk later on, and it's listed, that last name, I can't remember what it is, but it's listed like among special power names. And like I think it's the Thelmic religious path. I think that's one that, that Aleister Crowley founded. And they said that he was probably one of the first to communicate with these beings. I can't remember for the life of me what it's called, but a lot of people is like, oh, it's a demon, whatever. But he used ritualistics with the god Pan, which is a big theme later on, to communicate with this quote unquote spirit, which they think is an interdimensional being, which they described it. It looks like a modern day, what we think is an alien, the big head, big eyes.
Big eyes, yeah.
But that is also a very common theme in fertility deities. And there's a lot of connections to the planet Venus, the morning star, which is also called the dog star, which is where these benevolent aliens are said to come from.
Going back to the dog. So, one of the things that I thought was really interesting is when they went to the tarot cards. I don't believe in tarot cards. I think that's all a farce. But it was very interesting, the cards that came out. And two of them in particular that really stick with me were the man with the 5 bowls, but he's looking at the 3 that are empty and not looking at the 2 that he still has full, and then obviously the devil. And they kind of go into talking about who could be the devil, who could be this, who could be that.
Right.
But in particular, the guy with the 3 bowls empty and the 2 bowls full, that to me, when I started thinking about this whole thing, it took me right back to the whole spiritual aspect of it. We're always, at least in my life, I know I'm always looking at more of the negative than I am the positive. I'm always looking at, man, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, but I'm not looking at what I do have. Now that I'm changed, I've changed my religion, I've changed my way of thinking, all that good stuff. I don't think that so much. But I think that if you're in that kind of a state, you are way more open to anything coming in or anything that's going to attack you, or you're way more open when you're looking on the negative side of things, or you're looking like it's helpless or it's hopeless or whatever. That's what these things feed on. But when I think of that, I don't think that whoever this guy is, this David Christie guy, he never mentioned about them being in a bad place or being, the only bad that started happening is when these little goblins started coming around. Yeah. That's when it got bad. So
and I like I said the other day, it didn't seem like they were, other than the dog going missing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they were messing with them, but they weren't really doing anything overly bad, really. And there's a point where they get to where
the window
they're doing I was going to say that where they're doing another one of those, I don't know if you would call it EVP sessions, but where they're on the radio and it says that they're a byproduct.
They're what?
They're a byproduct.
Oh, I see.
So that they're just like these little fuckers that got out, which is kind of one of the things that they get called, ugly little fuckers.
Yeah. Critters.
Yeah. But I read tarot too, and how I describe it is like your cards have a meaning, but that doesn't mean that's what it's telling you to me. It's like just because it says, okay, you have this card and this is what it says in the book, that this is what it means. That how I read it, it's more of like, this is the word in the sentence. You have to have in context, okay? But I also think the devil card may not have necessarily meant what the devil card represents, because modern Christianity has taken the nature of spirits and intertwined it with their evil deity as a way, like back in the day, to bring in pagans and to also tell them, like, don't worship your gods because they're the devil. And the devil card is, I think they were using the same deck that I use, is that image. And I would go find it, but it'd take forever. If you look on that, it has bird feet in the...
Oh, the devil itself has bird feet.
The devil card has bird feet on it, too. So it might not be...
3?
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I was... Yeah.
3.
But also Pan, what have you, these nature... I mean, obviously, all these things are happening in nature, too. So it's not too far to believe that pagans associated with them, with their gods, and perhaps whatever this was communicating through the tarot, because they communicate through emotions, through mind, through whatever.
Right.
That I'm here.
Yeah. And I don't know anything about tarot cards. Nothing. I don't. It's just something I don't believe in. I didn't believe in Bigfoot. I mean, I still don't believe in Bigfoot. But yeah. I'm not naive enough to say that something does not communicate through those. Because if that's what you're in tune to, and that's what you believe, and that's what you feel, then that's where you're getting your information, and that's
you've opened yourself.
That's what I'm saying. You've opened yourself up to that, and I mean, and I'm not saying that those tarot cards didn't talk to them, because obviously it meant something to them. Yeah. It was very powerful to them, and that one card with that guy, I was honed in on that little dude with his freaking 5 little pails, because it put a whole new perspective on everything to me. Is, man, when you go into anything, you should look at what you have, not at what you don't, because so many people stop doing something because they don't have what they think they should have, or have what they think they should need, or whatever like that. They don't look at what they do have to keep pushing them going. And that's what I got out of it. And I just, and I don't read tarot cards. I don't have anything to do with tarot cards. Yeah. But that's what their incident, and obviously to them, that spoke to them.
Was the tarot cards in episode 2 or
in 2?
Okay.
Yeah, it spoke to them. And man, it's the first time I ever heard that Connor guy talk. I think his name's Connor, the one that came with Carl. It's the first time I ever heard him talk, and it's because of those tarot cards. It got him going. So obviously it hit them. And
that's a lot of times how it works. It's like, most of the time when I do a reading too, I don't ask for a question. I mean, sometimes it's just like, well, what do you want to know? And most of the times people tell me, well, I don't know, just whatever, because I just want to do it because, it's for entertainment purposes, and I make sure I know, people know that first and foremost. It's like, I'm not going to tell you how to win $1 million. I'm just going to tell you what they want me to tell you, basically. And a lot of times it's just like when you say, I point something else like, wow, and it just hits in their head what it is that it's saying and how it's relevant.
And here's, I can relate what you're talking about back to my religion, back to Christianity. When I've gone into the Bible and I've read the Bible and I've read a verse, and I'm in a certain place in my life when I read that verse, and it's the same verse, but man, it's different. It's a different feel. I get something different out of it when I read that same verse. It could be 2 days apart, it could be 2 years apart, it could be 20 years apart, but I'll get something different out of it. And when she was reading those cards, she even said several times that it's not necessarily an exact just replica or an exact whatever this thing is saying is not exact, and she said that.
I think she went there because they were going to so many dead ends.
Yeah,
she was kind of getting desperate, and so
she's like, "Hey, we got to do something." But I can relate what you're saying to how I find my answers and how
it's
I
not,
find.
It's not it's not the words. It's a sentence. It's a paragraph. You know.
Yeah, and that's a lot of times in Christianity. That's why there's so many denominations of churches, is because they'll take one little snippet of something and they'll base their whole denomination of their church on that one little snippet. They don't take the whole thing, and that's why as a Christian, my job as a Christian is to love. Jesus was love. I might not agree with what you're doing. I might not agree with what you're saying. I might not agree with. But I can still love you.
You can respect it.
I can respect you.
It's like that way it should be for everybody. It's like
yeah.
You don't have to understand.
No.
As long as nobody's being harmed.
Yeah. I'm not going to push my religion on you. I don't ask that you push yours on me, but I am all for listening and trying to understand and trying to get to know who you are and how.
You know, and then when you break it down, really, it comes down at the root. Most are the same.
Yeah.
It's just different names.
Exactly. They take it and they branch and they take this from it and they take this from it, take this from it. But first and foremost, as a Christian, I'm called to love, because I'm called to follow Jesus as an example. And all Jesus did was love. He loved everybody. He went to sinners' homes. He stayed in sinners' homes. He saved sinners. He's that's what he is love. So for somebody to come and tell me something different than what I believe or anything like that, I'm not going to kick you away.
Yeah.
I'm not going to I'm totally open to what you have to say, and I hope that you are open to hearing what I have to say. And I'm not talking about you, Asher, or you, Robert. I'm just talking about the general public.
Right.
When I'm coming to somebody, I hope that you're open enough to what I have to say, because I'm open up to what you have to say. And who knows, we might come together and boom, find out the answer to the universe. You know, I don't know. But that's why I stay open. And that moment in those tarot cards, man, it was powerful for them. Yeah. It was a powerful moment for them.
Well, getting back to episode 4, Slivers of the Future. I know they were at a stopping point on the episode, and Joey called them back.
Yeah.
And Joey had ran into...
Joey's the
guy they met at the gas station.
Yeah, they met at the gas station.
The amateur cave, okay.
And he was the amateur cave guy, and he ran into... He was talking about another person. I don't remember if they said his name. I don't remember. But he said there was another guy that knew some caves and had seen like a three-toed footprint, and they were interested. And so they get the guy on the phone. He was like a retired teacher, I think. He was a retired teacher.
I think he was a history teacher.
Yeah, he was a history teacher. And so he had gotten pictures of the three-toed.
Hold on just a second. I kind of lost you for a second. Joey's a retired history teacher?
No,
his
Joey ran into somebody that knew more about caves.
Okay.
So he goes, I know a guy that did this, but he didn't know.
This is the no-name guy.
Yeah, he didn't know where he was, but I think that day when they were stuck,
that's when that guy
he ran into him somewhere. He goes, hey, and then he called.
Right. He just happened to run across them at a store or something.
Just happened to.
Yeah, and he
threw up the air quotations.
And like they were in that cabin, and they didn't have any signal except for Connor. So he only knew Connor's number. So he called Connor and said, hey, I got in touch with the guy. This is, I'm going to have him call you. So he calls Connor, and he starts talking to him about a cave, and it was like abandoned and that no one's been there. And he saw the three-toe print, and then he sent it to the local university, and the local university had something about it was prehistoric, all that stuff. And so they went to go. I think the next episode is when the
prehistoric, but it happened like 2 days earlier.
It was was it?
Yeah, by their summation, that was the only thing that they could find to compare it to was like a dinosaur track.
Yeah.
So I think the last episode is called "In the Heart of It." So they go to the cave. The last episode, they go to the cave, and they were like trekking into the woods. It was like it's overgrown stuff, and they obviously no one's been to this cave. And it was a huge cave.
One thing that we didn't touch on that kind of a little bit, but we didn't. That when who was the guy that did the first? His name just went out of my head.
Tyler?
Not Tyler. Is it the other boy? Other man. Sorry. But whenever they did his little session.
Gainesville.
Yeah.
Connor.
Yeah. That when it's like, that's it, we need to cut it off. He got a image. He said he felt like it was projected into his head, which was just a tin can.
Right. I mentioned that earlier.
That was in 2, though.
Yeah.
That was at the end of 2.
Right.
Because I remember that.
Is significant in this episode.
Yeah.
And then later on, too, when they're finding out more things about
Well, you're
the
like in
Bigfoot.
season 2, right?
I finished the whole thing.
Oh, you finished the whole thing. Okay.
I couldn't stop watching it.
So you're teasing season 2 to us right now?
Yeah.
So yeah, they go to this cave, and I don't know. They don't even go that far in the cave, right?
They're just kind of like in the mouth of it.
And so it was like the cave was so huge that there was no echo in it. No echo. And that's kind of odd.
That is odd.
And so they actually do another Gansfield experiment, or no, they walk in and then he sees the tin can.
The tin can.
He sees because the
image. Yeah. Okay.
And so it kind of freaks him out a little bit. So
no joke.
He sees it. It's a tin can, and I remember him saying they didn't have any writings on it. It was plain, and it was a tin can there.
And this was after they had done their Gainesville, and
so
okay.
So I think Greg does the Gansfield on this one, right, Ash?
Or was it
the finale one?
Yeah,
season 1.
I don't remember, man. Yeah, they all kind of run together now since I watched them all in like one season.
Yeah, he does the last one, and he doesn't do it as long as Connor does. I think he does it for 15 minutes and stuff like that. And so I'm trying to remember how it. I don't remember how it ended, but I know that's as far as they got was the tin can, and so I think they end up leaving Hellier without any really information because they were at a stopping point, but they felt like they were supposed to be there at that point to get them started. I guess on this path that they're going.
I know it was like 2 years apart from when they first went to the second time they went.
Yeah,
it was like 2. I can't remember if it was 2 years or a year or something like that. But there's no doubt in my mind that these people were supposed to be there at both times that they were there.
Yeah.
And it's whoever this Dr. Christie is, or David Christie is.
Yeah.
Is that he's wanting there for a reason.
Yeah.
For something. I don't know what it is, but I know that it's definitely not of this world.
Yeah.
And it might be aliens, it might be Bigfoot, it might be
could be the third
It's all of
order.
them.
It could be third order.
It might it might be all of them.
I think it's just, again, teasing season 2. As they get into it, it's kind of one of those things where it seems like it's just the answers.
Yeah.
Like something that's just so much bigger than ourselves and so much beyond that.
The Mothman stuff, that's in Point Pleasant or Pleasant Point? Okay.
Point Pleasant.
Point Pleasant. That's
Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
You stay confused.
So it's right next to Virginia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Virginia.
It's just,
it has
it's kind of the same general
right.
area.
It's got Quantico, right? Quantico.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Langley.
Langley.
That's Quantico's FBI.
Mm-hmm.
Langley's CIA.
Mm-hmm.
What else is over there? Is it the naval headquarters? No. Pentagon is not too far away, right?
No,
Right.
Pentagon's in D.C.
DC, okay.
But still, that's still,
I mean, it's still not far.
The whole East Coast area is a lot small.
Right.
In Texas terms, let's go on that.
It's closer. Yeah.
Yeah. You can get from Virginia to D.C. faster than you can get from Dallas to El Paso.
Right. Exactly. So it's like,
But-
to us, that's like, wow, other states. But it's just like, your states are a lot littler.
But Quantico's by that, and Langley's by that. So
I've always thought the government covers up all kinds of crap. So
And then we go to my favorite, one of my favorites. We got Montauk in New Jersey
yeah,
with all kinds of fun stuff.
But that's exactly why we decided not to do politics on this podcast. Because
You're all lizard people, you motherfuckers. We know.
So we don't.
You're shooting death rays and kidnapping homeless people and experimenting on them.
Yeah.
We don't want
You're
at the door.
Yeah, we don't want the men in black.
Stop talking about what you're talking about.
Or why did you stop? Keep going.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things he asked him is why did you stop?
Yeah.
After they got into that cave.
Yeah. He's like, why did you stop?
I haven't got any emails, so
I'm gonna say I haven't.
You did post your email on your Facebook the other day, though. I seen that too.
I got.
You're opening yourself up.
yeah.
You're like, hey, injured.
I got
Connor
some. I got some funky phone calls coming from some funky places.
I think we all do, though. So I think they passed something recently to try to put.
I got
stopped all that.
We're a minute and 50 seconds in.
I got a settlement for that.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna have enough time for Skinwalker or
Really?
you-
No, bring it, Ash, bring it.
I want.
This is our finale too.
I know we gotta. This is our finale, man.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let y'all run with it then.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Go ahead.
You want to go ahead? Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Where would you like to begin?
You begin
Okay.
where you want to begin.
So, Skinwalker Ranch.
You know what? Hold on. Before you start,
Okay.
I will say this. I was interested in this timeline in Skinwalker, 1776.
Yeah.
My family, the Dominguez and the Escalantes expedition through the area.
Well,
So I'm kind of tied into it. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ash. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Synchronicity.
to say where this, like, just to kind of give you an idea where it is, it's called the Shermer Ranch, which is the pseudonym that, for the family that these
Right.
Yeah.
So they don't use their real names. They go by Terry and Gwen Sherman. But they also call it the Skinwalker Ranch. It's in Ballard, Utah, around 500 acres. And it borders the Ute Reservation
Right.
there in Utah.
Utah Utes.
Yep. And it says that the Utes believe the land is a territory for the Skinwalkers. They believe they are on the property because the curse was put on them by the tribe generations ago, by the Navajo tribe members, and they are forbidden to walk on this land. So no Native Americans ever step foot on this land.
Wow.
Wow.
And I'm going to give you a little background on what a skinwalker is. This is from what I like to call my geek books. This is
it's a geek book.
Yep, the Encyclopedia of Vampires and Werewolves by Rosemary Ellen. How do I say her last name? Guelli.
You can butcher it. You can butcher.
Yeah.
We always
Yeah.
butcher stuff.
I was
I
gonna
hate
say
that because I love her books. I have several of them, but I don't know how to say her last name.
I butcher her
And she
name.
recently passed away too.
Not her name, but I butcher a lot of people's name.
But-
What is the last name start with?
Guiley.
Guli?
Guelli.
Gueli?
Well, anyway, she's really
I'll
good.
butcher it for you.
She was really good. I have several books that are on, like, I had one on, like, ghosts and stuff, and just different type of weird stuff, encyclopedias. But it says, in Navajo lore, witches and sorcerers have the ability to shapeshift into wolves, coyotes, and other animals and birds. And skip ahead here. This is an important part. They call it the practicing that, because we have our healers and then we have the people that practice skinwalking, which they call them witches, which, whatever, that's a kind of a throwaway term. I feel they have their own words for it, I'm sure. But they say they follow the witchery way, which was started underground by first man, first woman, and coyote, and then brought above ground and decimated.
That's yeah.
So these skinwalkers learned their magics from underground,
Yeah.
and they come from the underground.
They're not cattle though, right?
No,
Where do these goblins come from? Underground.
underground. But basically, they can take they can take on forms of basically any animal that they choose.
Right.
They wear their
Shapeshifters.
skin. There's also one that's like if they make direct contact with just people, they can take them over, like jump into their bodies and walk in.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Creepy stuff.
Yeah.
But,
Anytime you're talking about something jumping into somebody, that's creepy.
And there's
Are these violent? Are they mean?
They're not. Yeah, they're like I said, they have the healers, and then they
Yeah.
have these guys.
Okay. So these are direct opposite of healers.
Right.
They want to destroy you.
but they changed their form because they're able to travel at greater speeds. They mostly travel around at night. They said they're said to gather in caves at night to initiate new members, plan their activities, kill people at distance through magic, have sex with corpses, and practice cannibalism.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of entities that they report there.
Mm-hmm.
Portals.
There's lots and lots of stuff. But basically, this story happened between, like the main story here that we're going to touch on with the Shermans, and they had, I think it was two children. That it happened between 1994 and 1996 that they lived at this ranch. And when they moved in, they said that they noticed the house already had bolts on all the doors and windows, some inside and out. There were chains like for two big animals, probably guard dogs, outside. Didn't pay any mind to it. When they were signing their... there was a clause in the real estate contract when they bought the house, which had been, I think it was about 7 years, it had sit empty. And they said that they could not dig on this land unless the previous owners were notified first. They didn't pay any attention to it.
The curse?
Mm-hmm. Perhaps. I don't know. But they said on the first day that they were there, they encountered this large wolf, is what they described. And they said at first it seemed okay, whatever. They pet it, it came up to the kids, whatever, and it was just hanging out. They were cattle ranchers. And what they described had happened was this big dog, big wolf, whatever, come up, and they were just hanging out with it. And that a calf had stuck its head in the fence. And that this wolf went over and grabbed the cow by its head and was trying to pull it out, whatever.
Right.
So the guy runs over, pulls out his gun, and shoots him point blank.
Yeah, and
Nothing happened.
Yeah,
shot him again. Nothing happened.
One of the entities there is called the
bulletproof wolf.
Yeah,
and that goes hand in hand with the skinwalker lore, because these creatures, these people that have, or whatever you want to call it, that have chosen to take on this form of this animal have their skins on.
Yeah,
that's the name. And when you go to shoot them, they say the only way that you can kill them is if you shoot them in the neck or in the head, because otherwise it's just going to pass through its skin because it's not its own.
Yeah. That's creepy.
There's also an entity there called the Dark One. It's a Native American guy with a wolf deal on him.
And they perhaps it's a shamanistic creature, and he appears in different forms, and that's one of them. It said a few weeks later that this wolf appeared later with another dog-like animal, and they started to complain because, they're not in their head that this is something supernatural. And just like there's this wolf on our land and it's messing with our cattle, we're worried. And they were told basically just like, what are you talking about? Because the last wolf was shot in Utah in 1929, and this was in 1994 when this happened. After that, it said that there was a few, that Ellen was out walking in the evening and felt a massive rush of air over her head. So she's like, it's a bird, it's a bat or something. But it was just like too big. It was huge. She looks up and she sees nothing. This happens twice to her. There's nothing there. And after that, that's when the light anomaly started. I think they told the story that the husband, and I think it was his nephew, they're out and they thought they saw a car or something on their land. And it's like, well, we need to go check out because he's going to run through this fence. And they go up there and it just lifts up off the ground, up above the trees. And said that it moved silently that time, and it was an oblong craft. But later on they seen it again, and it made a very metallic sounding noise, like it was like grinding, like metal beating against each other.
Yeah.
And seen it again during the winter, and it wasn't too long after that Ellen, quote unquote, said that she seen a camper trailer. She looked out. I think she looked out the window and seen this camper trailer parked out, and she described a figure in there that looked like he was dressed like Darth Vader. Was like in a
black cloak,
maybe hooded, had a mask, big boots. When he stood up, he was at least 7 foot tall. And later they went to go and they found boot tracks, but with no like sole print or whatever. It just looked like a flat, big track.
Is there like a military base around there?
In Utah?
Yeah.
I'm sure probably.
I was on a military base, and it was back in February.
Because the reason
February of 2008 or 9, maybe 10. But there's one in Utah, but it's right outside of Salt Lake City. I don't know how far this is from Salt Lake City, but I know there's one.
Because they talk about invisible choppers, and
I saw that. They talk about invisible choppers and mini stealths.
Okay, in Dugway, I think it's what it's called, Dugway Mysteries. It's a new Area 51. That's what I couldn't remember what it was called, but allegedly in Utah is where the new quote unquote Area 51 is, and then it says in Dugway.
The new?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've heard that several times. So that's where the new like area is for that, like Area 52, and there's like also a place in New York and stuff that they do whatever it is that they do over there. You know, be it aliens or just testing of new flight type things.
You know, they talk about the invisible chopper, the mini stealth, and then they talk about these things called the controllers. It says what sounds like two adult males speaking to one another in an unknown language.
Like they're just hovering over their head.
Yeah. But it says it sounds like they're speaking through a walkie-talkie or a radio.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. I saw the picture of that, so it's...
Yeah. And then 1 minute in duration will suddenly stop the conversation. 15% chance of hearing, 1.3% chance of seeing.
Yeah, there's another one they said they said that they would structures would appear in the sky, not ships, structures. And they said they're like kind of orangey, but said he looked into what was this guy? This Terry, quote unquote Terry.
Terrorist?
Said that
Terrorist?
No, terrorist.
I was kidding.
Well, who knows? Maybe.
Well,
but said that he looked through it with his scope on his gun when I guess he was probably out working his cows, and said that it looked like you could look up into it and see a second sky, like it was a portal to somewhere else in these structures.
Yeah.
Well, in Hellier, didn't they have a picture of what looked like kind of like two orange or
It looked like two big light bulbs.
Yeah, but they were like long.
Yeah.
And they were like kind of at an angle.
At an angle, yeah.
And they were parallel to each other.
Right.
Those
were the things that they said we got bored. They were just there for so long and didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This says something about, it says the spotlight. A single spotlight similar to that on a motorcycle travels about 10 to 40 miles per hour, typically hovers around 8 feet from ground, sometimes seen with a red tail light behind it.
Yeah, that was the first light anomaly that they saw. They thought it was, because, with that description, I would assume that it was a vehicle, but when they went to go inspect it, it just took off into the air.
Yeah, 8 feet from the ground. Mm-hmm. Can fly over any terrain type, may also be related to, if not misidentified as the flash drone.
They got a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, they got a ton of stuff going on.
Didn't Ghost Adventures go there?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we watched that not that long ago. But I don't know. They probably got special because whoever has it now, they have it all.
I mean, this spotlight has a 46% chance of seeing.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the most common thing that you do see out there, because after they had sold the ranch and it was taken over by what's his name? Mr. Fake Name.
Bigelow.
Bigelow, yeah. The National Institute for Discovery Science, and they were out there for 8 years. That was like the first thing that they seen were light anomalies, but it was this family only lived there for 20 months.
Yeah.
They lost, how many was it? It was several heads of cattle. I think they said 20% of their cows 2 either went missing or were mutilated. And 14 cows killed or stolen.
They weren't supposed to be there. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know,
You think?
there it was just pretty graphic. They said, they had, one of their calves, it looked like they just had his whole rear end ripped out and just like left in a pond. I think that one was still alive when they found it. It was just yeah. And then there was another one that it just looked like it just took its whole entire middle. It's gone. I've seen pictures, and its eyes are missing, his ears are cut off. But what ended up making them move, which just kind of pissed me off about this story too, because this guy just was like, whatever, fucking left his dogs out here. But he said that he'd seen one of these light anomalies, and he had 3 blue healers, and that these dogs took off after this light, and he didn't think anything about it, whatever. And they never came back. And when he went to go find them, all he found were 3 burns with like greasy pile in the middle. And assumed that was his dogs. His dogs had been burnt up, pulverized, whatever, and that's when they were finally like, we're out.
I'm not a fan of the skin ranch.
Not either. I'm not a fan of him just being like, well, whatever, I'll go look for my dogs in the morning.
Yeah.
If I got all these, things happening, I'm not going to let my dogs out to begin with. That just pisses me off, kind of like back on that key. It's like, don't fuck with the dogs. I'm done, do whatever.
I mean,
yeah.
This is a pretty whack place. It's pretty...
But yeah, after that, they sold it to the National Institute for Discovery and said that Terry was hired on, and they kept cattle on the ranch basically as bait. And so his job after he had sold this ranch, he still worked for this company to tend the cattle. And,
No thanks.
Things kept going on. I mean, he didn't want his family, they moved, I can't remember, in the same general area, but far enough away. But he wanted to know why. So he just kept working with them, and then they ended up selling the ranch to a company for $4.5 million called Antiminium. Like
Wolverine?
Yeah.
Wolverine.
Claws on my spine.
And that was in 2016, and since then all roads have been closed. But I think, sometimes there are people that do get to go on there and research. You have to get special permission, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Thanks, Logan. For shutting that shit down, man.
Yeah.
I was just looking on BFR Road, and there's been 3 Bigfoot sightings in that county.
Yeah.
In 2006, 2005, 2004.
There's probably a lot more, but those are just reported. I don't know. But nobody goes there.
I don't want to go there.
Or, no natives go there at all because it is cursed.
If y'all decide that y'all want to take the podcast there,
I don't think so.
I'm not going.
No.
You probably have to have a lot of connections getting there anyway because,
the Utes.
I'm all about Hallsville and Jefferson and all, but I ain't going to no Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, I'm not either.
No thanks.
I'm gonna run from that place.
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
You know me. You're gonna pull a me.
You're gonna see me
run.
So
run, Bob, run.
We're not gonna have time to talk about wrestling. So I'm okay with that though. I guess second week in a row.
it happens. We're down this rabbit hole. Okay.
I was gonna say this Hellier thing is a rabbit hole, and it's
a deep one because there's so many things that that's just in that general thought, that area, it's all kind of connected.
I just felt like we had to talk about it.
Yeah.
All the stuff
there's
that
so
happened.
much.
Well, the way that it all came about, at least for us, the way it all came about, it had to be at least addressed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at the stuff how I got here.
Yeah.
That's what, man, whenever that just finally clicked in my head, I was at work and, it was a Saturday. I was out doing my patrols or whatever. And it just like all this just finally was like, and it freaked, like I had to take a minute.
That is kind of freaky.
Just like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Mothman in a roundabout sort of way too.
Yeah. Because you went to go see that guy talk.
Yeah. And he wasn't. He's not very well known. I don't know
Yeah.
that I think maybe
I
what
knew-
happened to him made him kind of take a step back
Yeah.
from it all, because I can't blame him. He had family and children, and they were calling his house. But yeah, man, I mean, and then from the beginning, because I met Michelle through Keith Johnson, who used to work for TAPS, which was the first team that I ever really talked to whenever I was 12 and 13 years old. It was kind of like on their little forums and stuff, because their website was so good. It had all kinds of information on it. And so from just the beginning of, I don't want to say career because it's not, but whenever I really started getting into research and stuff, it all leads right to this point.
Yeah.
You talk about getting into research. One of the cool things that Craig mentioned on the show was he said he's been doing this for 20 years, but he takes the 5 years, his first 5 years, and kind of makes it a wash.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can relate to that so much because I haven't been doing this nowhere near 20 years, and honestly, I haven't been really researching or doing any of it for any amount of time. So I feel like I'm still in the first 5 years of my
I wish I could say that for myself.
But I'm just, and I've had plenty of encounters and I've done research and stuff like that. But when he said that, it kind of put it into kind of perspective for me, is that I'm still a baby in this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm still a baby in this whole grand scheme.
So on this podcast, you're Baby Yoda.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm not near as cute as that little booger, but
maybe season 1 or episode 1 Anakin.
Yeah.
No, I won't do that to you.
So
I will not go to the dark side.
before we log out, I need a name for the show.
Oh shit. No, not that one, because we just found out.
Okay.
Poop titles don't work too well.
Poop titles don't work too well.
No, they don't.
But before we do all that and before we log out,
Shout out.
shout out definitely. Always do a shout out. But this is a special time of year. I love Christmas. It's by far my favorite time of year, and I know all of our viewers, y'all might not celebrate Christmas, but whatever you do, celebrate. Whatever you do, what you do with your time, enjoy it. Take this time to just reflect and just enjoy life. Look at the 2 cups that we do have. Don't look at so much of the 3 cups that are empty. But shout out to my wife, my babies. I love y'all. All of our listeners, thank y'all so much. This is our 10th episode, and y'all just keep coming. Y'all just keep listening. Y'all bring it. Y'all, it's awesome. You keep downloading, and we look at it every day, and we see the downloadings racking up, and it's awesome. You two guys, Ash and Robert, thank y'all for just letting me be a small part of this, and whatever y'all celebrate, I'll say Merry Christmas because that's what I celebrate. Yeah. But I don't know what y'all. But whatever y'all celebrate, y'all have the best at it. Y'all enjoy it. But man, this has been a blast. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, Ash, you got anybody?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm just going to go on a big journey tomorrow.
That's right. You are.
I'm going over to Fort Smith to go hang out with my duders.
Brandon,
Gloria, and everybody.
Yeah, ask him to be a guest on the show.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Get in his ear.
He lives in California. He comes out here once a year.
Hey, we can
get stuck in DFW airport like he did last year.
We can satellite him in.
We could, but he's so very busy. But he's a really great guy.
Hey, we're busy too.
Well, not on this level. We ain't putting out. If we are putting out a show every single day.
Yeah, that guy he's talented.
He hustles. He works hard.
Hey, we're busy too. No, I'm just kidding.
He's making a cheesecake without ingredients.
No, he had the ingredients. He didn't have the recipe.
He just read it through one time and then tried to go off memory. So
no, today's video was he had, of course, everyone's getting sick, and he did. I think it's from 17th century remedies. It's just basically shove a lot of weird shit up your nose.
Okay.
I'll pass on that.
That sounds like Pavaglia Island.
Yeah.
Put this mask on and shove this in your
It
nose.
doesn't say, and it didn't say shove. It says thrust it into your.
Thrust.
Or it sounds like Scarface.
Scarface, yeah. Say hello to my little friend.
I did want to do a shout out to Rob Brumfield.
I was like, we are not gonna leave this show without shouting out to Rob.
Yeah, he's been listening to. He's a coworker of ours, and he's been listening to a lot of podcasts. And he stopped all podcasts, and now he's just only listening to us.
Just listen to us,
which is awesome. I love it. So
I said, man, that is.
It's only gonna get harder because season 2 is always the good one.
Yeah.
That's how I always feel about TV shows. Like that's the one where it really gets a stride. It's like we got time off. And what do I got to do?
Right. Yeah, after
shit.
this episode, we're going to take a break.
Yep.
And we're going to come back in January. We don't know yet, but we're going to start season 2. So everybody that's listening now, I'll be posting stuff on Facebook and Twitter and our Bigfoot Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
So
I say send us people that know us or whatever. Give us your suggestions.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Please.
I mean, I could go on all kinds of stuff, but it also helps to kind of like get a little interjection what you want to hear because the audience matters.
Yeah,
too.
Tanya's been giving us some good ideas, and Chris came up with this idea about Bigfoot eating stuff, so that was kind of good.
But one of the things that Rob mentioned that I thought was it was Skylar. Shout out to Skylar.
Oh, Skylar, right? Yeah,
Skylar. What he mentioned, because I was talking to him earlier today. He mentioned that because he drives between Austin and Farmers Branch, between our two sites,
right.
And he says when he drives, he listens to our podcast. He said, but one of the things that he likes about it is he feels like he's a part of the show.
Yeah.
I really love that because that's what we want.
Yeah, he said he felt like he was in a room.
Yeah, he said he felt like he was in a room with us. And I was like,
I love that too.
That's like one of the biggest compliments you can get.
Yeah.
Okay, one, a dude drops like 6 podcasts to listen to ours, and 2, another one feels like he's sitting here with us.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we want. But
I think that just goes to show we have no structure. We just
Yeah.
fly by ass.
Yeah, we
kind of do. We just kind of have a loose framework and we just
Yeah.
go with it and let it go. And I
But
like that about most of my podcasts that I listen to too. That it's
Yeah.
not like, okay, well, they might have a topic, but it's like, it's not
Yeah.
like we have to talk at these talking points and these questions. It's
Yeah.
not stiff
Yeah,
and
I'm
it's
not-
formal. It's just a conversation, and I
I'm
think that
not
makes for better.
I'm not a podcast Nazi, so
Yeah.
I won't
a
say-
micromanager.
Stop talking. Let's talk about.
But I think that's what makes it real.
Yeah.
That's what makes it feel like they're in the room with us, and that's exactly what we want. Is we
Yeah.
want you to
I
feel
mean-
like you're here with us, and
It's storytelling more than just like
Yeah.
flat facts. I mean, I could just read out of a book to you, and
Yeah.
anyone can do that. It's just actually giving our own experiences, our own take on it, how we came across it,
Like I know, I always say all the time. I don't remember the guy's name, but I'm just gonna.
I do too.
remember
It's like
where.
I remember this story. Most of them are in situations like around a campfire, and this
Yeah.
person just told this story or whatever, and and it just sticks, but not necessarily where you were, or whatever, because sometimes those things just kind of fold into each other.
Yeah, because like I know most of my stuff it's that I did now belongs to Nowak.
Nowak.
So it belongs to them, and I can't use like
Nowak.
actual names and locations and
Whatever.
I like that word, Nowak.
Nowak. So
Nowak.
which is I don't have nothing against that group. I mean, I'm sure they're all cool dudes, with
They just have the rights
PhDs.
to the stories.
Hey, cool dudes.
With
I'm
PhDs.
a cool dude with a bunch
Yeah.
of books.
Yeah, you are cool.
I don't have a degree, but goddamn, I think I put on the work.
Yeah, you do. You're a scholar.
Yeah, I guess. I do like to read.
You open the book and you read.
Yeah.
I just butcher people's names.
Me too. And I'm late on sound bites.
I bet you
All
can't.
the time.
I bet you can't say that. That's one of the big Brandon things. Anytime
Yeah.
when he does a live, it's like pronounce my name, and because he's really
Brandon?
bad at it.
I did want to do a shout out to Steven. Thanks, Steven, for doing the show last week. Shout out to Blair Dominguez, and the boys, Sebastian and Ricardo Minguez.
Minguez.
And special shout out to my homeboy, JT. I can't go one show without it. So
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city.
sorry,
Off from my
I had to do it.
You know, before you guys got here, I was watching the documentary that Lance Bass put out about Lou Pearlman and how he stole all their money.
Wow.
NSYNC and Backstreet, you know, after they did their big, huge tours, they come home and it's like they get their check.
Yeah.
$10,000 each.
Yeah.
After making multi-million dollars and stuff, you know, and that whole thing, you know, I was halfway through and it was, oh my God, that's so horrible, you know, and there's a lot of darker stuff about this guy, but he was a huge scam artist. Yeah. So,
You know what that is?
What?
A hack.
yeah. I don't know. He scammed. He had Ponzi schemes. He did all this stuff, insurance fraud.
Yeah.
And then he's like, boy bands. I can make a lot of money for that on me, and was running it like, you know, not like a music deal, but like you're renting out property of mine and basically treating these kids like that's what they were, and it's like you belong to me. I get all the profits, and you get whatever I feel like because I pay for your this and da da da.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was bad.
Ponzi sucks.
Hack.
Heck.
Man.
Okay. No other shots.
No other shit.
I've had a lot of fun.
Me too. And we had.
And it's just going to keep getting bigger. I'm excited to have people come in.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm excited for guests. I'm excited for taking this on the road.
Yeah.
We
actually did take it on the road last week. But you weren't here.
Does it count when it's just like Carrollton?
No, it doesn't count because I wasn't
We're
there.
still in the Metroplex. It doesn't count.
He said that because this week I said the first time the podcast goes on the road and the first time we have a guest, I'm not there. That's why he said that.
Well, it was a substitute.
And he did a damn good job.
Yeah.
I was telling him he's originally my first round draft pick.
I know. I wasn't even a draft pick.
You were third,
I was third round draft pick.
and Ash, you were fourth.
Why? Oh, because I had to get my ass moved. That took a long time.
Yeah,
But-
my second round draft pick didn't work out too well.
Well,
But
I think maybe that was kind of meant to be.
Yeah,
You know,
we ended up here.
yeah,
We're doing it,
everything.
and we're doing big things, and
Yeah.
we're only going to get bigger.
We're on the right path because
Yep.
all these synchronicities are happening, right?
Yeah,
what
that's
it is.
right.
It's like that's how you know that
we're-
you're heading in the right direction.
we're supposed to be here, so
Yep.
We're doing what we're doing,
let's do it.
and we're doing it well.
All right. On that
Let's
note,
do it.
we're gonna call it a night. Thank you everybody for listening. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for the support. Go to Bigfoot Club on Facebook. Look us up on Twitter, Bigfoot Club 1. And we're gonna, when you hear us back, we're gonna be in season 2. So we got a lot of good things coming out. So thank you so much. Good night.
Yeah.